It's time to add some spice to your nooner. Nooner funny. This is the place where big-time guests, bold opinions, and little cute doggies come together. This is Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
So where's the office, back at Division? Yeah, in the office, baby. Going up.
Yeah, that's right. My legacy. Rothman and Ice, Anthony Rothman, Matty Ice Hayes, and CB. What a way to start the weekend with you guys. How we feeling?
Oh, it's feeling good. CB, give me some more of that instrumental, baby. It's a Freaky Friday. Let's go. We ain't playing around. Welcome back in. I hope everybody's having a great start to their Friday, man. I'm feeling good. Got up this morning, got a workout in, had a nice little lunch, some chicken and Brussels sprouts, so I'm ready to go.
I ran into a box of Jolly Pirate donuts this morning. That was out on the
ping pong table out there. You know, we don't have real tables out here. Just, you know.
And I opened it up, and I saw there were 3 left.
Mm-hmm.
There's some sort of
what you got over there?
Powdery something. It has to be something cream-filled. There's a chocolate frosting one. There's a cake donut. And I said to Maddie when he was cooking up his Brussels sprouts, I said, what would I have to pay you to consume these 3 over the next 3 hours of this show? 1 an hour. They're not massive. Yeah. They're an exact kind of donut you would expect when you think about a donut. And then I said to him, and I threw out the number, and I said what I think it would take.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't think you would do it for money. I think you have too much pride. I don't think you can be bought. But a certain number, every man has his price.
There you go.
And I would say, and I started it at $1,000.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
$1,000. Now, I don't know. Maybe you would have taken less. It was probably a stupid number for me to throw out right away because now I can't retrace my steps.
No.
And so $1,000. Now, it's not worth $1,000 of my money, but I just said to you in the hallway, boy, I wonder if we could get a sponsor for this. And we could watch him eat these live on the air.
I would do it.
And put this amount of sugar and calories into his body today. Because they're just your regular, ordinary donut.
Okay.
I mean, that's a pretty good price.
Completely
$333 and change per donut.
Done.
It's not my money. I can't do it. I can't put it up. First of all, I wouldn't want to be, contributing to that delinquency. I mean, you're the greatest. You've got so much discipline. But if someone else would want to sponsor that and video it and watch it and see if they could get some branding out of it, maybe we call up. The Jolly Pirate doesn't have to pay for that. They've already supplied the actual donut.
Yeah, shout out to Jolly Pirates getting us right. By the way, I'm in on delinquency. Yeah, that works for me. I'm adding that to my bag.
Also, we've got a pretty good show for you today. Listen, I don't expect the Jackets to be very busy today. The Provorov thing is very interesting to me about what they may or may not have been offered for him, and could you really, implode your D-line like that when you're in a playoff push, and the Big Don has told us that he's unlikely to do it, which means that he may just ride this out and let Provy go. If you could get a first rounder for him, you and I both think now, depending on where that first rounder is, that's what in hockey, I think it has to be up. It has to be high. And I don't know if you'd get that high for Provorov. But if he wants to be, a big time $8-9 million guy, then I could see them saying, okay, forget it. And they would move him. But they're in a weird spot now. They've lost a couple games in a row. I was very nervous about this road trip, but all I wanted them to do was get 4 points out of this road trip. Other teams are losing around them, which is helping. The Red Wings are going the opposite way after we kick them to the curb. The Devils aren't winning right now, so you're still chasing third the Metro. Ottawa's coming. The big game on Sunday with the Rangers in New York will be massive because both teams are fighting for that spot. So they can definitely rescue this trip.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to watch. I know we'll have pressure coming up at 120. I got a certain 115. I got a certain team I'm going to put in there because I don't know if Rantanen, it feels like Rantanen's going to be out there, just a star. And he's going to want to get paid massive money, and I think Dallas might be willing to do it, which means I might be tipping my hand, Maddie, on grabbing a future on the Dallas Stars right now in the Stanley Cup. But we will see. Okay. Otherwise, we'll have Brian Hedger on at 2:05 today. He's kind of embedded with them as a beat writer with the Columbus Dispatch, and if we get him on at that time, we'll be T-minus 55 minutes till the deadline.
Yeah. So, look, you took a two-piece across the chin coming out of the Stadium Series over the last two games against Tampa and Florida. But as you alluded to, AR, you look up at those wild card standings right now, you're still holding down that first spot. So you just got to clean up some things. You mentioned Detroit. They've now lost 4 in a row. So for the Jackets, clearly not what we wanted as far as results. But you caught a bit of a break here. And so it's just all about course correcting, locking back in, and getting back to the hockey club that we watched coming out of that Four Nations break. Because we know what's in there, but we talked about this stretch. You're going down to Florida against some really good teams, and the schedule's not going to let up. So they got to get things right, get in the film room, and get back on track.
Yeah. Well, they ran into goalie Bob last night. He was very good. You knew he'd be motivated to play against his old squad. They're a very good team anyway. They got a lot of firepower. They had, I give the Jackets some credit for killing off the penalties they had to kill early last night. You were on the penalty kill 3 times. You gave up 1. But when you do it in the first 5 minutes, it just sets a bad tone. So that's what they fought back. They hung in there. They put some pressure on them late. The empty netter obviously sealed it for Florida. But the next one is even more important, honestly, because that's the team you're fighting with. Like, if you told me on this trip I could kind of handpick the wins, I wouldn't have said Tampa and Florida. I wouldn't have done that. I would have gone with definitely the Rangers. That would have been the number one priority that I had to have. And then I would have put Jersey next, and then it wouldn't have mattered against Tampa or Florida. I think from a confidence standpoint, it might have been nice to beat Tampa Bay, but they had, a backup goalie in, so you thought you might get that anyway. You didn't. And then goalie Bob, you figured that would be tough anyway, and Florida's been playing well. So if I would have ranked them, I would have ranked them Rangers, Devils, Lightning, Panthers. Yeah. And so they still got a chance to do that.
We talked to Metsy about the Florida trip and whether or not you pack your clubs when you're going down there. I was thinking, too, like the wardrobe for these guys on this road trip. You packing peacoats and swim trunks and turtlenecks and tank tops, like all of this going from Florida up to the New York.
Here.
They came back? Okay,
yeah,
so they've been
back last night. Okay, Sivo told us that.
Okay, there you go.
On Wednesday, they were coming
attention.
that they were coming back. And, plans change. You never know. And that they were coming back because they don't play till Sunday. Yeah. So it would make sense to get them back here. All right, so we got a lot to do today. When we left the program, and we'll kind of tease this for the next segment a little bit, and Ryan Day talked today as well on maybe his quarterback shuffle and all that. We'll have Brenden Deeg on. We'll talk NFL this hour with him. And we'll get into a college football with Bill Bender from the Sporting News in the second hour. And, of course, our friend Tyvis Powell on the Brownies' big decisions at 2:30. So that'll be your menu. And we'll do some overs and unders this hour. And the Trey Hendrickson thing kind of popped off yesterday when we got off the air. But he's been down this road, Maddie, he's in a very weird spot because you and I kind of debated when we didn't know the money that could be involved here. Because I think you and I both said, okay, who do you pay, T. Higgins or Trey Hendrickson? Yeah. You said T, I said Trey at the time because the defense to me was such a weakness that if you take the best guy off a bad defense, it sinks it to a new low. And so, but what has happened since then, the Max Crosby deal might have sent a signal to the Bengals that we are in trouble. We cannot pay that.
Because you look at Trey right now, and we got to get to a break. Well, let's get to a break. Let's get to a break, and then we'll get it in. We'll get it in on Trey next. We'll get it in.
Yeah. We need to do a show with no breaks. I think they call that a podcast. We'll come back, and we'll talk about Trey Hendrickson and what could you pay him, and if he walks, what does that mean? And what's Joe Burrow thinking right about now? That's next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And you've heard me talk a lot about how treating low testosterone can improve your sleep, your workouts, your energy levels, and more. But today I want to talk to you about your sex drive, because low testosterone can have a significant impact on your desire for intimacy. It can even be a factor in erectile dysfunction. And if you're in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship, a low sex drive could really be a problem. The good news is that if you're like most guys, treating your low testosterone could really change the way you feel about sex, giving you back the flame and desire that is so important when you love someone. So if you're feeling sluggish and tired, if you're not sleeping well, if your workouts aren't that great, and most of all, if your sex drive is more like a putt, make an appointment at Tri-State Men's Health and have your testosterone levels checked. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
This is a Craver service announcement. Stop what you're doing and get 10 cheese sliders for a new low price of just $7.99. Your choice of melty American, spicy jalapeno, or cheddar cheese. Only $7.99 for 10 cheese sliders. White Castle. Follow your crave.
Miss, your burger is served.
Thank you.
And if I may suggest a pairing, this is our finest Pepsi Zero Sugar. The sweetness of Pepsi perfectly balances the savory notes of your burger, while the citrus and carbonation elevates the taste for a truly stunning flavor profile. Bon appetit.
Now that is one perfect combination. If this is how the other half lives, I could get used to this. Burgers deserve Pepsi.
Getting the cold shoulder? Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your furnace fast. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Common Man and T-Bone here for the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Bone, did you know that March has a lot of college basketball?
Why, yes, I did, Common Man. And the best place to watch all the action and play the action is at Hollywood Casino. You can reserve your table now at HollywoodColumbus.com.
Not only that, every Saturday in March is UFC Fight Night. They're showing every fight on the big screen. Watching at home is boring. Don't be boring.
All the action happens at ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All in favor of March basketball? Raise your hands, but not while driving. That would be bad. The Buckeye women's team heads to Indy for the Big Ten tournament.
Catch all the action Friday night at 8:45.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are looking at a cloudy and dreary afternoon today with highs in the 40s. Heading into tomorrow, look for sunshine with a high of 42. Beautiful bright blue skies on Sunday with a high of 53. By Monday, we're up to 60. By Tuesday, we're up to 70. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up, knuckleheads? You're listening to Rothman and Ice on The Fan. It's not terrible.
Thank you, Chuck.
Speaking of Chuck, he took the flamethrower to Kendrick Perkins and ESPN. I don't know what was in the air last night in the NBA, but it was wild. LeBron confronted Stephen A. at the Lakers-Knicks game last night based off of, I guess, some comments Stephen A. said about Bronny. So it was pretty wild out there last night in those NBA streets.
It's a good game last night.
It was.
Between them. Brunson's hurt now, though, for the Knicks.
Yeah,
so rolled his ankle late in the game.
Ankle roll up. Yeah, but it was a banger of a game. So, yeah, it was good stuff.
All right, so we've got a real issue now in Cincinnati, but it's the same issue that we've always had. Will they pay to keep talent?
Pay the man his money.
The prices keep going up. They've got a quarterback. They almost won a Super Bowl not that long ago. AFC title games, like they have been so close. Yeah. And if you're an owner like Mike Brown and you feel like, wow, I'm scratching the surface of getting close, you would think the motivation would be, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get us over the top. We've been so close. Mm-hmm. I think with him, it's the exact opposite. I'm doing just fine. Impossible. You're doing great. Like, this is the point where I can live off maybe being close to winning a Super Bowl. What we've done with owners, and I've said this before, we make the assumption, I do a lot, that when you're that wealthy and you own the ultimate toy, which is the dream of owning a professional franchise, that you would make the assumption that the competitive nature of these owners would be so, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. That at the end of the day, it's fun having a team and sitting in the suite, 50-yard line, and entertaining guests and all that, and being the top dog. We make this assumption that, and I do it wrongly. I think I've made the assumption about Jerry Jones for years that he'll do whatever it takes.
I think you're onto something, AR, and I would argue that most of the owners across sports don't care that much about contending year in and year out.
They're businessmen. They want to make money.
Right, and that's why I respect when you look at even like in the sport of baseball what the Dodgers have done and how ownership continues to back their front office and saying, go get Shohei Ohtani, go get Teoscar Hernandez, go get Blake Snell. We're just going to throw millions and millions, and in their case, billions of dollars at our roster because we want to win. That's a franchise out west. We know that they're one of the class acts of baseball. They don't have to do this every year, but they continue to do it. So you're right. There are certain owners that are just looking around and they're just okay with getting by and not really, infusing a bunch of money into their roster as long as they pop up every once in a while in the postseason.
Yeah, listen, we have a good time on the show. I play amateur GM. You guys give me a lot of crap for it. It's fun. I like it. But I do feel like that I know better, and I know that sometimes you do have to overpay. I think the Trey Hendrickson thing is really troubling now because he's a guy that, from a statistical standpoint, you believe should earn big money. Big money. He's got more sacks in the last 2 years than Watt, than Garrett, than Donnell Hunter. He beats them all. Mm-hmm. And I know all sacks aren't created equal, right? Some are easier than others. Sometimes you're playing a bad quarterback. Sometimes they have a bad offensive line. So I don't want to go right to just the number. But over 2 seasons, that's a pretty big sample.
That's
a pretty big sample. And his pressures are big for the Bengals. Like, he is such a big piece of what they are. But I'm wondering if, like you said last week, and maybe it's right, maybe it's they care to have an okay defense or whatever it's going to be. We'll try to outscore people. We'll lean into the offense. I think the good news about this, if they let Trey Hendrickson walk or request a trade and get a trade out of him, is this does restore my faith that maybe they can give that money to T. Now, if they trade them both, or they tag T and trade Trey, then it's just the old Bengals again, and that's what we're used to.
It's a complicated situation, to say the least, with the 3 guys that are due at the same time looking for high-end, top dollar at their position. And all of those guys have an argument, especially Jamar and Trey, that we should be the highest paid at our position right now. Based off of what you said about Trey and him looking around at the market and the timing of the Max Crosby deal, and him getting in his Fat Joe bag and saying to Mike Brown, yesterday's price is not today's price. So whatever we've been negotiating, rip that paper up, and we're starting over, because the guy out there in Las Vegas, while he's a good player, numbers and production-wise for me right now, I'm better than he is. And so that's a fair card to play if you're Trey Hendrickson. The scary part of all of this right now, if I were a Bengal fan, is if you remove Trey Hendrickson from the equation, who do you really have confidence in that D-line room that's going to step up and be a consistent guy that's getting after the quarterback. I don't think the guy's on the roster right now. That's the scary part, AR.
Matty, he's got more pressures. Forget about sack. He's got more pressures than the three next best guys on the team combined.
He was carrying everything, and that's what's so impressive about his productivity is because he's the focus. There wasn't a road dog with him getting after quarterbacks consistently. And think about what has just transpired. Sam Hubbard, he just retired. B.J. Hill's a defensive tackle who was third on the team in sacks and has recorded 50-plus tackles over the last 4 seasons, and
he's going into free agency.
He's the top defensive tackle on the market right now, as you just touched on. And so, who else is there? Joseph Asai. Do you really think that he's going to be a guy that can lead a defensive line unit and be consistent getting home? I don't think so. Myles Murphy's been a miss as a first-round pick. So the defensive line room right now, it's looking real spooky over there.
So here to answer your question, I think this is the answer. It's not anybody there. It's they have to get somebody back in the Hendrickson trade.
It's somebody's.
Well,
that's where they're at.
Depending on who you trade with, you could get a top 10 first-round pick. And then you could draft a rookie defensive lineman that could be
how'd that work out with them with Myles Murphy? Do you really trust him to identify that? That's the other part of it.
A top 10 pick, I would hope that maybe the prospect would have a pretty safe floor. That's my point. Like if you trade Trey Hendrickson and you get, let's say you trade with the Bears or you get the 10th pick, you get a player, there's a chance for them to kind of shore it up to some degree and then lean into the offense, which I think you wanted them to do anyway, and they could do that. But, yeah, if you trade him and get a top pick or couple picks and a player, then you've reset it. Listen, Duke Tobin said he was going to pay him. He didn't know what Max was going to get.
No matter who you trade Trey Hendrickson for, the guy coming back is not going to be as good as him or as productive as him. Because I don't think there's a team that's going to be on the other side that's going to be willing to trade for Trey, who's 30, 31 right now, and give you a guy that's in his prime is what you're going to hope for.
No, you're getting picks
at the high. Yeah,
that's the gem of the trade would be either a high pick with a player or multiple decent picks.
And that's a scary place to be if I'm a Bengals fan hearing that. Because this is our window. It's time to go.
Well,
there's a lot of
you're speaking to the choir. You're preaching to them because the guy that runs it may be like I said in the very beginning, which is, hey, we're doing just fine outside of this year. We're doing just fine, making money, making playoffs, making runs. Life is good. But if you're a player and you're a competitor, you want to take a run at that ring again. We had Dave Lapham on, Mr. Bengal, who's been with that franchise for, my goodness, 50 years or whatever it's been. I mean, he's one of the most versatile guys that's ever played that O-line. And put it to him about this little 3-ring circus they got going. Where's your confidence on all 3 of these guys? I mean, Chase for sure, but T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson, is there an odd man out in your opinion?
Well, I mean, they had almost $60 million before they waived Alex Kappa, Mike Hilton, and Sheldon Rankins. So they're pushing $70 million now, over $70 million in cap space. I would think you might be able to get them done, particularly if everybody is agreeable to a structure where both parties can handle it. The player's satisfied, not too much is, a lot of bonus money and a deferral of bonus money. That is a different cap ramification than huge salary. So it all depends on the structure, not just agreeing to a deal, but agreeing to the structure of the deal. Obviously, is a significant thing. But yeah, Trey Hendrickson, 35 sacks in the last 2 years. He's outperformed his contract again. And when a guy does that, that's not a bad thing, man. It's really not. But, so you take care of him. And, if it's reasonable, or I don't know what's reasonable these days, but I mean, if you feel like you can make them happy and it makes enough sense where you've got cap dollars to spend on, be it a tandem for him in free agency at the pass rush position or in the draft, which is a lot cheaper, obviously, at the pass rush position.
Yep. So he said a couple words in there that were key. If he's agreeable, what does he want? You want Crosby money, or would he settle for something in market value? Let's remember this. Trey Hendrickson has a year left. You can't just come up as a non-free agent and say, make me the highest paid edge rusher. I think he's got to accept something in the $25 million range. Ooh. What's he getting, 16? So that's a hell of a raise for a guy that has a year left on his deal.
Yeah, I think he has every right, AR, to come to the table right now and ask for new money. I mean, we see teams extend guys all the time when they have 1 year because you don't want those guys getting in the market. Now, the Bengals may not care. They may say, okay, Trey, you're at 31. We're good with riding this thing out. But Trey and his camp, I think they've earned the right to come back to the table right now and look around the market and say, it may not need to be $34, $35 million where Nick Bosa and Max Crosby are at, but I got to be in the 30s if I'm Trey because this is my last big contract in the league. This is my last one. And the last 2 years, I'm in that class. I'm in rare air with Myles and TJ and those type of guys. It's time for him to get his.
Well, he also knows one thing, that there are other teams that may do what you just said. That even though he signed a 1 year extension, for $21 million before last year, he has 1 year left, and he could theoretically stay in that $25 to $27 million range and stay with a team that he likes, that presumably likes Cincinnati. But if he thinks that the Rams or Arizona or Washington or Atlanta or Tampa, all of them need edge, all of them need him, and you're right, he's at this point. The good thing about his age, though, and I was looking at his, he started with New Orleans, and, he could even go back to Sweet Lou in Indianapolis. There are other teams that might say, hey, I know this guy, we want him. But he's played 110 games in 8 years. He's played 1,900 less snaps than Myles Garrett, and they came into the league at the same time. So he's actually a young 30 when it comes to NFL standards. He's averaging about 13, 14 games a season since he came in. So that's something maybe to monitor before we kind of kick him to the geriatric world. All right, we'll come back and we'll stay with the NFL. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Brenden Deeg, the NFL news editor at The Score. I think he'll have a comment, Maddie, about the tush push and whether it's going to get shoved out of the NFL. You'll hear it next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help?
Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but they outnumber me, man.
Whoa, that's a lot of glitter paint. Let's trade
lives.
At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com/iPhone for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Maddie ranked the most dynamic duo of all time, Caesar Salad and Moscow Mule. This is Rothman and Ice.
All right, the NFL circus keeps on churning along. And it's great to have our guy Brenden Deeg back, NFL news editor at The Score. He's on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Brenden, welcome back. How you been?
I'm doing well, guys. How you doing? Missed you guys.
I wanted to ask you, I thought you'd be the perfect person to ask about this. Maybe you'd be biased. I don't know. We'll find out. So I've talked, when we were at the Super Bowl, Maddie and I had a chance to talk with Gene Steratore, and we even talked with Dean Blandino at the Baggage Carousel. And I asked him about the tush push, and I asked him about why these refs are not calling lining up in the neutral zone when it comes to 4th and inches. These helmets are like touching. There is no neutral zone when it comes to 4th and inches, especially on a tush push. And they both said, Dean especially said to me, I'll quote him, they should be calling it. And here's my theory on why they don't. It's been such an advantage for the Eagles with the way they do it that to call a penalty on the defense for lining up in the neutral zone would almost make it even more advantageous to the Eagles. So I'll ask it this way. Do you feel like that this is detrimental to the NFL if they say to a team, you can't run this play, you can't sneak the football the way you're doing it, you can't physically help your quarterback gain yardage?
I have the tush push narrative to me is insane. Like I don't understand why people are asking to be banned. You're right. There are some plays where it looks like both teams are in the neutral zone, and maybe that can be dealt with. But just in general, like every single team in the NFL can run it. It's not like the Philadelphia Eagles are this one team that has this play in their bag. They have spent hours, hundreds of hours perfecting this play with the calls, the snap counts. They have the players lined up properly. They have a great offensive line that can do it. And, of course, they have Jalen Hurts, who a guy who can squat 600-plus pounds, who's great at it. But every other team can run it. If you're another team, replicate it. Study how the Eagles do it. No one has stopped you from copying that play. Learn how to defend it. Study how the Eagles do it. Maybe figure out some other ways to do it. And if you do this, then you're just open. If you ban this, then you're opening up a can of worms that you can ban like anything. Like just because a team's successful at it. What's next? You're banning the too high shell defense. Can't blitz 8 guys. It's a bad thing for the league to do if they ban it. The tush push discourse to me was insane a couple weeks ago when it was kind of going around Twitter and whatnot. And I might be biased. I'm an Eagles fan, but every single team could do it. Just follow suit. Do what they do.
All right, Brenden, we got a sticky situation down in Cincinnati, to say the least, right now, with these 3 guys, Trey Hendrickson, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, all looking for massive deals. And I think every guy has a case that they've earned that deal. I want to ask you specifically about Trey Hendrickson, though, and where the pass rushing market is. After you saw that Max Crosby deal, now we get news that Trey wants out, which isn't the newest of news. There was some of that stuff going on last year. But your thoughts on what the Bengals should do with Trey Hendrickson now?
Well, I think they're going to not have to trade him, right? Like I think that's going to be the most likely outcome here. If you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, this is brutal. You have 3 guys here that should be paid at the top of the market or just close to the top of the market money, who all deserve it, and it all comes down to just the owner being cheap. I was actually reading an article early last week while I was on the news desk, just kind of ranking the NFL owners, and Mike Brown is by far the least richest owner in the NFL. I think he's worth around like $930 million now. People listening to this can go, $930 million. That's crazy. That's a lot. But in NFL world, it's not. And you can just take a look at with the Eagles and Cincinnati Bengals. You can kind of compare those two teams. Back in 2023, both of those teams signed their quarterbacks to long-term extensions. So Joe Burrow got a long-term deal, and Jalen Hurts got a long-term deal, similar money. The Bengals have only signed 1 player over $40 million since that. The Eagles have signed 8. A.J. Brown, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson, Devonta Smith, Jordan Mailata, Zach Bond, Darius Slay, Saquon Barkley, all got big deals. The way the Cincinnati Bengals kind of run their books is like a pay-as-you-go franchise. They want that 1 year. Like, they're fine using the franchise tag. We see with Higgins again. It's like, we'll pay you now, but we're not putting money into an escrow account for you later to give you a large signing bonus. So I'm a Bengals fan. I'm really disappointed at this. Like, Trey Hendrickson was the best player on a very bad defense last season, letting him walk out the door, and there's not very many adamant replacements kind of free agency. Like, are you gonna go after like a Chase Young for less money? Like, I don't really know what their plan is to replace it, because a lot of their draft picks haven't panned out over the last few years on the defensive side of the ball. Myles Murphy was the guy that took it towards the end of the first round. He so far has had a slow start to his career. So I'd be frustrated if I was a Bengals fan. I think T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, if you let Trey Hendrickson go, you have to sign them. I think Jamar Chase will get a deal. The T. Higgins one is kind of up in the air, but yeah, like Trey Hendrickson is a guy that wanted a deal last season. They've kind of just let this go, and as the more pass rushers get paid, then the more expensive he gets. we just, like you said, Max Crosby just got paid top of the market, and that's Trey Hendrickson's probably starting point is going to be with his agent when asking for a new deal. So I feel for Bengals fans. It's frustrating when your owner just isn't willing to put up the money that other teams are.
You know, Brenden, there are a lot of quarterbacks that make a lot of money that aren't considered the top tier guys. I mean, or even the guys that haven't been able to put their teams over the top. And I know it is a team sport. That's why, I mean, Dak Prescott making $60 million, Trevor Lawrence making $55, Tua's making $53. Who else? Kyler Murray, $46. You've got guys that are making a lot of money. And I wanted to ask you about where these guys stand now as far as like Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins and guys that certainly can provide something to certain teams, but where are you on Sam Darnold right now as far as a team, whether a team's going to get him into the $40 million range?
Yeah, the Sam Darnold contract is something that I've been trying to figure out what would it be. It is like 4 years up in the $40 million range. Like you're probably looking at like a 4-year, like four years, like $155 million around there. But I don't know what team is going to be willing to do this now. Trying to figure out where he goes, like I said, it's been really tough. The Las Vegas Raiders need a quarterback. The New York Giants need a quarterback. I have a hard time believing he'd go back to the New York Jets, but maybe that's an option. But this is a quarterback desperate league. Like you just brought up the amount of money that teams are willing to spend on guys like Tua Tagovailoa, Dak Prescott. I don't think Sam Darnold's in that category, but I do think he's kind of hovering in this like just below tier one money here. And when it hits free agency, anything can happen, right? We can see a bidding war for him, or we could get up in towards $45 million a season. So I don't have a great answer for you where Sam Darnold's going to go. It's been one of the biggest mysteries that like I've been trying to figure out. I went on the news desk. Other of my coworkers were trying to figure out. It's a bizarre situation, and I honestly can't wait till Monday to see where it lands because there's like 3 or 4 teams that are kind of desperate for a quarterback, like with Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. The quarterback carousel is just one of the weirder ones I can remember in any offseason this year.
The wide receiver market for me is going to be fun to watch. You know, the situation in Seattle is very interesting for me right now just because DK Metcalf is a very big name around the sport. When you look at DK and the landscape of the league right now, have you identified maybe a team or two that you think would be a good fit and maybe he can go there and put them over the top?
Well, I don't know if you guys have looked at the free agent wide receivers coming up. It would be the really cool class in 2018. You know, some of the guys are hilarious, like Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin. It's a fun one. But yeah, with DK Metcalf specifically, I think the Green Bay Packers are definitely a team to watch here. They have like they have a bunch of wide receivers that are kind of like hovering on this like wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 market. Maybe that they're willing to throw in a high end draft pick, like a 2nd round pick, toss like a Romeo Doubs in there, and that gets a deal done, something around those lines. I would look at Las Vegas, maybe to get paired with Pete Carroll. The Raiders are one of the most interesting teams for me this offseason because they are 3rd in NFL cap space right now. They need a quarterback, but it looks like they're not just going to go on this rebuild here, hiring Pete Carroll when he's up there in age. Tom Brady's there. They want to compete right away. So I look at the Las Vegas Raiders and Green Bay Packers for a team to watch to get traded in. I actually think this is going to get done pretty quickly. The Seattle Seahawks have said that they're willing to kind of listen to offers. They're not kind of holding back here. So I expect the DK Metcalf deal to kind of happen next week. And, yeah, the two teams that I'm eyeing are the Packers and Raiders.
He's the man, Brenden Deeg, NFL news editor at The Score, host of the Double Doink podcast as well. BD, it's great to talk to you as always. Have an awesome weekend. We'll talk to you again soon.
You guys are the best. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, man. Brenden was on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We come back on a Friday. We play it overs and unders. You'll hear it next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. Just freak the hell out of someone. The Fan.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
They're trained. They're fired up.
Let's do it.
When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team, the Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey, it's Anthony from my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. If you're searching for a Honda lease deal here in Central Ohio, I know you've come to the right place. Leasing allows you to enjoy that flexibility in one of their fantastic, sharp, reliable vehicles. I'm so confident that Rich and his team can tailor a lease deal that's right for you. Like a 2025 CRV LX all-wheel drive, $349 a month for 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $19.99 down. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
You know that project you've been working on, just chipping away at it, dreaming of the day you get to show it off? Then, when you're least expecting it, cancer. And finishing that project actually happens. I would know. I've been restoring this car for years, and today I'm giving it to my granddaughter. It's her 16th birthday and 2 years since my cancer diagnosis.
Mom, you finished it?
Happy birthday, boo-boo. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell furnaces instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
The Buckeyes are national champions. And you listen to it all right here on The Fan. And next year when they do it again, it'll be here on The Fan. And the year after that, well, you know the drill. Always and forever, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan.
Oh, by the way, Ivan's no longer on the project. His wife got a new job, so they're moving across the country.
Robin's top researcher is deviating to a new market. This isn't standard.
And now we're short-staffed. Who's going to finish all these projects?
She needs a cluster of new data analysts, and there's no margin for error.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Spring is finally here, and so are spring projects. So get them started at Harbor Freight's parking lot sale. Happening now. Save on products like pressure washers for $69.99, 42-inch roller cabinets for under $500, plus 30% off Hercules corded power tools. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until 3/9/25 while supplies last. Limitations apply, so spring in before it's over.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Rothman and Ice presents Overs and Unders.
All right, I'm scared to know what we did last week. I do think there's a chance.
You should be.
I think there's a chance after I had a great week. I think there's a chance I went over.
I think you're on the board. I think both of us did the exact same.
Well, yes, you had the same exact selections, so you both did bad, but not over. You both went 2-4. You both got the under on the Crew Revolution game. That was only a 1-0 game. And the temperature for the weekend, the windsock was way off. I had a high of 49 at one point on Saturday. I'm going to guess they took the overnight, like you said, used that, and went over by 15 degrees.
So the week before, you went 5-1, I went 4-2, and then he put it on us last week.
He raked the chips again.
So now we got to get back after.
We get him back.
We got to get.
All right. See what you got.
Yeah, let's start off with some college basketball tonight. Big game in the A-10. Dayton needs to build some momentum heading into the conference tournament if they want to make the March Madness. Their over-under at VCU tonight for Dayton is 66.5.
Dayton over 66.5. I've watched this team this year. They average in the mid-70s. I just think VCU is really good defensively. And I think this could be... VCU beat them a month ago. And they get them at home now. So they beat them by 5-6 a month ago. I don't think that game got into the 70s too much. I don't think Dayton did. So I'm going to take the under. Wow, 66.5. It's not much, is it, Matty?
It really isn't, man. It really isn't.
It's a horrible number.
They play a slow-paced game on offense, and when they're not clicking and they're not scoring well, this is definitely in the range of possibilities.
VCU, if you just take Dayton out of the equation, is probably giving up about 60, 62 a game. So this is under that. It's an important game. Could be a close game. Maybe I get overtime. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go over 66.5, barely.
So the last 3 games, the Flyers have gone over this number. However, they're going into a hornet's nest.
No, don't sway me back.
Well, I got your back. So let me drop this knowledge on you to see what you think of this. You were right to believe and acknowledge that VCU's defense is legit.
It is.
They're number 1 in the conference in points allowed. They're number 2 in rebounds and number 1 in blocks. So they're a tough, gritty team. VCU's riding a 9-game win streak, and they're 15-0 at the crib this year. So it's a tough place to play for everybody in that conference. I'm going with the under for Dayton's points. Give me the under. You staying or you rolling with me?
Yeah, you're right, because even if I get a 35-31 couple halves for Dayton, that's still under the 66.5. All right, you convinced me. I'm going to follow up on my very first thought that VCU giving up about 60 a game, 62 a game. I'll switch over to the under.
No.
All right, next up, Evan Mobley. Last week we did Darius Garland against the Celtics. He barely went over his number. Let's see what Mobley does against the Hornets on the road. It's over under 17.5.
This almost feels too easy for me, which is scary. Like, they don't have an answer for him down low. They're not, Jared Allen and Evans should have good days. Mark Williams, the former Duke Blue Devil, I believe, he is not a good defensive big right now in the league.
And one-time Laker, right?
Yes, for about 48 hours, maybe even less than that. And so Evans just expanded his bag, taking his game to higher heights. I'm going with the over for him in this one.
17-41 the last 2 times he's played the Hornets. Mm-hmm. Give me the over. Make some threes, and we hammer this. Over.
All right, different kind of line with the Ohio State-Indiana game this weekend. I want to highlight the offensive rebounds because Indiana, when they're playing well, they do this well. Mm-hmm. Last time they played between Ohio State and Indiana, the Hoosiers had 14 offensive boards, and they won the rebounding battle in that game. So we will do Indiana's over-under on offensive rebounds, not total, offensive rebounds at 12.5.
That game went to overtime. I don't know how many they got in that OT. I can't remember.
They kind of fluctuate between 10 to 15 depending on the game.
Listen, sometimes this just comes down to how Ohio State is, how teams are shooting, how Indiana's shooting, how the ball, how many long rebounds you can get. I'm going to err on the side of the under. 12.5 is a pretty big number of offensive boards. Mm-hmm. So, and like you said, 14 in an overtime game. So give me the under.
Yeah. Put up or shut up time for both these teams. I am going to go with the under. I think this is going to be a point of emphasis for Coach Diebler and his staff to get these guys locked in on that specific part of the game because of what you mentioned, CB. It came back to bite them last time. Those second chance opportunities just absolutely crush you. So I think they're going to get that corrected. I'm going under.
Next up, the Crew. They're kind of in a tough stretch right now. They only had 1 goal in that Revolution game and then did not play well out in LA, but we will do the over-under for total goals for the Crew only at the Houston Dynamo. It's over under 1.5.
Crew off to a nice little start. 2-0. Houston, they've given up 6 goals already this year. I know it's only been a couple games for everybody, so statistics right now, you don't need to get carried away with that. But I think the Crew have some confidence right now. They got some mojo going. I'm going over.
Well, they got hurt in that against L.A., right? So you'd think they'd have a little revenge on their minds trying to get back to it after didn't they get blanked, CB?
I think it was 3-0.
Yeah. So I'm going to take the over on this on 1.5. I do expect it to be a pretty low-scoring game, but at home, let's net a couple.
Will we get back-to-back weeks of you guys having the same picks? We will find out in the final two. First up, Rangers and Jackets. The total over-under for goals in that game is 5.5. This is on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a tough call because I don't know if you're going to get Shesterkin on a back-to-back, and he's been a little gettable lately. I don't like, we didn't like the last game. I think that I'm going to take the over on 5.5. I think this could be a 4-2 game.
Yeah, I'm going under on this one. I don't love the vibes right now. Around the Jackets, so I'm going, give me the under.
And finally, the fall spring might be upon us next week, but we won't be there quite yet over the weekend. So the high temperature this weekend, I will set it at 54.5 degrees.
54.5 degrees. CB, I love you, but I don't trust you when it comes to this, so I'm just going to go under. I don't know. Going under.
Going over. Spring's in the air.
There you go. Is that the golfer in you saying that?
A little bit, maybe.
Over this time.
You get into March, it's a crock pot of stuff.
I mean, we're going to see 70s next week.
Yeah.
Speaking of
back
golf,
to the 30s at some point.
I watched the first episode of the Full Swing, the new season. It was cool because it's about Neil Shipley. So it's about the Masters last year, and he was the highest amateur and all that stuff, and how he got to play with Tiger, and he beat him in that round. It's good stuff, man. Seeing him highlighted in episode 1, showed the dorm where he and the golfers are playing, and they got, the Xbox on cases of beer. Like, he's just living the dream, man. He's a cool dude. So, yeah, if you're into golf, I'm sure you've heard of it, but Full Swing is a good show on Netflix. Good stuff.
All right, those are your overs and unders for today. We'll come back top of the hour, Sports Center update, and it's Myles Garrett versus ownership. Will there even be a fight? We'll give you the details next. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
News, opinions, and insight, all before breakfast. Rise and shine with Morning Juice.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Home values in Columbus are sky high, and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market has peaked. So if you're thinking about selling, it's time. Except for two things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here from my friends at High Bank Distillery Co., located right here in Columbus. Introducing their newest product, 614 Vodka, Ohio's house vodka. Perfect to make a drink at home or try when you're out at your favorite local restaurant. Learn more at 614vodka.com.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Hey, it's Anthony, and I've got a fitting personalized for you. From the moment you walk in the Good Feet store, they're going to take the time to understand your unique lifestyle, your daily routines, and most importantly, the pain that brought you in to see them in the first place. If your feet ache after a long day or that discomfort starts radiating through your knees, your hips, your back, I've been there. The Good Feet store is going to help you where you need relief and find the arch supports that work best for you. And they're working for me. I walked all over the place in New Orleans covering the big game. I was loving it. I literally literally was walking for miles around the French Quarter, Canal Street, everywhere, because I had my personally fit arch supports in my shoes. For more than 30 years, the Good Feet store has helped thousands of people get back to feeling comfort on a daily basis. I want you to be one of them. Go in, take the free test walk. They're immediately available. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help?
Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but they outnumber me, man.
Oh, that's a lot of glitter paint. Let's trade
lives.
At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com/iPhone for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
How high is your credit card rate? With rates as low as 9.90% APR, a Visa Platinum credit card from BMI Federal Credit Union is the perfect low-rate card for your wallet. Apply today at bmifcu.org/visa.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text TAP to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text TAP to 321-321. That's TAP to 321-321.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Cole Bartimus. Your head football coach took the podium earlier this morning to give a little spring update. Ryan Day says that this team is not changing its expectations for 2025 just because they won a national championship.
No, it doesn't change. Our expectations don't change. But, you know, I think whether it was last year, the year before, this year, I mean, none of that stuff's ever going to change. And so, you know, we're going to go.
In hockey, the Blue Jackets got blanked last night against Florida 3-0. Even worse, Sergei Bobrovsky was the opposite number. Even worse, he only had to stop 16 pucks. The CBJ will continue their very difficult road trip against the Rangers on Sunday, followed by a dance with the Devils on Tuesday. Buckeye Hoops, no action from the men tonight. They'll finish their regular season in Bloomington tomorrow, but the women will have their first matchup of the Big Ten tournament this evening against Iowa at 9. This update is brought to you by Whiskey War by High Bank Distillery. Drink local, drink High Bank.
You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
All right, second hour of the program. Bill Bender, bottom of the hour, 1:30 from the Sporting News. College football playoff talk. And obviously this season with the opener being so massive against the Longhorns. So we'll get Billy's insights at 1:30. Myles Garrett reportedly requested a meeting with ownership, Jimmy Haslam specifically, to discuss his situation.
Let's go have a steak, you know? Let's go have some lobster mac. Let's talk business.
Oh, you got to go. It got to be a meal involved.
I would think so.
Not just in the office.
This type of situation, you need some time. You know,
do you think you think when Jimmy Haslam goes to Myles Garrett, Maddie, or sees him in the facility, and he says, "Hey, come see me after you're done working out, and don't worry, you're not in trouble." You think he says that to him?
I don't think Myles is worried about getting in any type of trouble up there in Cleveland. No, not at all. Not with what he's done on the field.
Here's the juicy part of the story, if you believe it, that Haslam said no meeting. Now, what reasoning he gave him, or I don't know how. I mean, Myles presumably wants to talk to Haslam and give him his point of view on why he wants out. And Haslam's saying, you're under contract. We love you. You're one of the best players in the NFL. We got no reason to talk. I'm paying you to play. Go play. Like, that's right. And clearly Myles is not going to, would break him over his knee. But I think, like, that's the weirdest part of this story is that Haslam could meet with him and still come to the same conclusion, what I just said, which is, you know what? We got to dig in on you because we can't afford to lose you.
This is highly, highly embarrassing for Jimmy Haslam, in my opinion. You're the owner, and then the reports are, AR, that he's told Myles, go talk to Andrew Berry? No. Like, you're the guy. You run everything. Andrew Berry doesn't do anything without you signing off on it. And it's just an irresponsible move by an owner that I know a lot of Browns fans are very, very frustrated with. And this is a guy in Jimmy Haslam and the Haslam family to where we don't really see them get out in front of anything and speak to the media about much of anything that involves their football team. And then this story comes out that your best player on the team respectfully wants to sit down and talk to you about his situation and probably explain why he wants out. And you can't take time out of your day to do that to a guy that's given your franchise relevancy. Because if it wasn't for Myles Garrett, what is there to talk about in Cleveland over the last couple of years? And so you owe him that. And so for Jimmy Haslam to do this, it's just a complete miss. And so I found this tweet from Aditi Kikabala, who works for the NFL Network. Because now you've got reporters that have been around the Browns and been around the league, I think, getting things from Myles or telling stories about what they've seen throughout the year or years that have led Myles to this decision. So she tweeted out this morning, when Myles Garrett was playing through injuries to both feet and a thigh and Achilles this year, he told NFL on CBS crew how bothered he was that certain Browns teammates weren't giving better energy. He said he'd call out offensive teammates for their body language. And when I asked why, if he was so irritated he didn't just go have surgery, he said, quote, I want to win. This is my purpose until it's not. So Myles' frustration isn't just with ownership. It sounds like, if you want to believe Aditi Kukabala from the NFL Network and CBS, that he's frustrated with dudes in the locker room as well. And so now you do this to him, and it's a slap in the face. And if I'm Myles, I'm completely digging it. I'm not showing up. This is going into the regular season. Like, that's how serious I think he's got to make this, and that may be his mindset already, but this would be the boiling point for me if I were Myles Garrett, because while you may not like my trade requests, which clearly they don't, based off of what I've done for your franchise over the last handful of years plus, you owe me a sit-down meeting. You owe that to me.
Well, I just think you want to keep whatever dialogue there might be, I think you want to keep it above board and keep it professional. And I think even if Haslam, knows in his mind that we're not trading you.
Just tell him that.
And I pay people to manage my team, and that's who you're going to be dealing with. But I'm more than happy to get on a call with you for 5 minutes to hear you out. But I think that way this story doesn't get out the way it's getting out. I don't know if it changes anything. Like, they could talk. They could meet for an hour. They could go out for that lobster mac and cheese you're talking about. It may not change anything. I mean, Myles Garrett's trying to convince ownership to trade him and use me as a very valid piece to try to rebuild your franchise. And we can both win apart. You guys can rebuild, and I can move on to a contender. But they're saying, you got 2 years left on your deal. You're a Cleveland Brown.
And he's saying, I don't want to be anymore. And you know what it could change? It could change his stance of, well, there may have been a small percentage chance of me wanting to come back and we can talk through some things. This may be the thing that completely shuts that door. And I wouldn't blame him.
Yeah, he's probably thinking, I can't believe. It's more about the financial stuff and the cap hit and all that, because what you could get for Myles Garrett should tempt any GM. Now, you're not replacing him specifically. That's the hardest part about the trade, is that I could get a couple firsts for him probably. Probably could.
Yeah, I don't think you're far off.
And I could probably get more picks even on top of that. They may not all added up together become you.
He's a Hall of Famer.
That's the
he's a Hall of Fame talent.
Somewhat of his prime. So
and Andrew Berry doesn't want to trade this guy because Andrew Berry feels the heat on his cheeks. Yeah. That's what it is.
I also then the meaning, if Haslam had any inkling that this would be savable, you would meet with him. So that's the weird part for me, is that unless Haslam already knows what's going on here.
Well, AR, savable or not, as an owner, you got to read the room, because not only is it this situation, but this is now sending echoes around the league and showing players how you handle business within your franchise. And you think other players are going to want to come play for you when you're treating your star player this way? Absolutely not. So that's another domino effect that Haslam's not thinking about, is that, yes, this sucks for me right now. We don't want to get rid of Myles, but the treatment of this player and what I'm doing right now could have a negative effect on my franchise moving forward as well.
So it's a level of frustration on both sides. Usually what you would get in these circumstances, you get an owner that would just kind of placate his guy a little bit. Like, not tell him everything he wants to hear, but just kind of hear him out. Like, maybe just kind of understand where he's coming from. Nothing may change, but then this narrative doesn't get out there.
Correct.
That way both sides can say, we're actively talking, we've met with Myles. Yes, he still wants a trade. We still want to keep him. We're working as hard as we can to solve this together because he's that important to our franchise. And then you wouldn't be lying. Like, you could actually get that out there. To your point, when you don't allow any dialogue and then you dig in, you're only pushing him further away. And maybe they think it doesn't matter, but to not even discuss anything with him, even if you're not going to change anything, you got to value him to the point where you got to hear him out.
That's all.
Now, maybe they think, well, we've heard enough. Maybe they think that he has, and I'm talking for them now. Maybe they feel that his whole public request of the trade was, they're viewing that as disrespectful or a bad mark on their franchise. They should have kept it kind of in-house, and he goes public, and now all of a sudden...
You never win when you're ownership if you take that stance. Because of what I just mentioned, AR, with players around the league and your fan base, too. Fan bases, they're not going to side with the Haslams on this, I don't believe.
Well, let me ask you
I
this.
think they're going to side with Myles, because this is a terrible look for the franchise. Terrible.
It's odd, and that's why... Listen, we're not in the room. We don't know exactly what happened. His agent probably called Haslam and tried to set something up. I don't know if Jimmy actually said no specifically to Myles. I don't know where the request comes or how that works. Usually all this is done through an agent. It's not Myles.
To me, though, that's like we're threading needles then. At the end of the day, Myles and his camp wanted to sit down with Jimmy Haslam, and he said, no, go talk to Andrew. It's black and white for me. And so CB told us during the break, Louis Riddick for ESPN, before I hit you with a player that's recruiting Myles Garrett publicly, I want you to hear that sound here. This is from Louis Riddick saying, as someone who played for the Browns, loved living in Cleveland, and learned everything I know about the game from Bill and Nick during my time there, I hope Myles Garrett digs in and finds a way to get out of there. It's sad to see what has been happening with that place. And so that's a national voice that's throwing his personal opinion out there that he hopes Myles gets out. One player that's recruiting Myles Garrett publicly is Deion Dawkins, who plays for the Buffalo Bills. And here's what he said on NFL Network this morning.
I want the guy with us. I want to win. Josh wants to win. The guys want to win. And, I'm my own speaker for saying that I want Myles, but I want Myles with us. But I play against the guy. I know what type of character he is. I know what type of player he is. I know the type of fear he brings on the football field. And with a team that we have, if you have a couple of extra star pieces like that, I'm telling you, it's a drastic game changer. And then the guys in the room are going to get better. And then the guys on the opposite side are going to get better. All the tackles, Spencer, me, the younger guys, they're going to get better. They're going to go against him. I'm going to go against him. I'm in year 9, and I can get drastically better from having somebody and like that, which I already get better with Vaughn and AJ and Greg. I'm getting better with these guys that we have, but with something and like that, bro, like that's like going from a Benz to a Bentley. Like that's like, you know what I'm saying? Mercedes to a Bentley.
Here's the kind of the summary for me on both sides of this. Owners meddle all the time. They do it behind the scenes. And now Jimmy's playing I have a GM. That's why I hired a GM to run my team. So I don't like the public narrative of I don't need to meet with the guy. But you and I were at Radio Row, and you and I, all three of us were in New Orleans. And Myles went on a public tour of wanting out. And he would talk to any microphone that was put in front of him probably at a fairly high level of reach. And now he wants to meet with the owner. So I think there is a side of this that certainly ownership, billionaire owners are like, wait a minute, this is how you did us publicly, and now you want to meet privately? I think that's their stance. Myles, on the other hand, may be trying to force the issue a little bit, but do it in person and do it on a personal level and try to plead his case to the owner that this can be good for all of us, and I want to let you know where I stand personally. And I bet Jimmy's saying, that ship sailed. You should have done this before you went on this tour.
That's a terrible look, in my opinion.
I'm just guessing.
If that's his stance,
if you went on a blank U Browns presser tour, which is kind of what he did around the Super Bowl.
You got to push your ego to the side then. You got to push your ego to the side.
That's my guess on where both heads are at.
It's bigger than you. It's bigger than you if you're Jimmy Haslam. And so I clearly he doesn't get that. All you had to do, like you said, pop up on Zoom with the guy and just have a conversation.
Because I don't think...
Figure it out.
Well, the figuring out part, I think, is...
Figure something out.
I don't know if it can be figured out.
And let Myles know where your stance is.
Well, I think they know. They've already told him.
No, where your stance is, he needs to hear that from you. Not from Andrew Berry. You're the one writing the checks.
Well, Garrett's position and the team's position are obviously two very different things. I agree from the very outset that you don't want this narrative out there. It makes the organization look even worse. I agree with that. We come back. Who's going in the pressure cooker? Find out. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
Hey friends, Beamer here, and all right, somebody cue up the wedding bells because I just hit my wedding weight. Down 56 pounds with the Waken 180, and I officially weigh the same as the day I said I do. What's even crazier was how fast I took off what probably took me 6-7 years to put on. Only 3 months in, and I've made a complete 180. We cracked open the wedding album to compare, and yes, I'm looking the same that I did 7 years ago. Although be it a few more gray hairs with a 2-year-old running around, that tends to happen. I'm not done, though. Once you learn how easy losing weight can actually be with Awaken 180, your goals, they start to get bigger. Wedding weight, yeah, I hit that. But why not see what it feels like, what it looks like to be at my ideal weight? All goals start shifting. Who knows? Maybe I'll start hitting some 5Ks, playing tennis, being more active. Probably not going to hit 5Ks, but hey, you never know what's going to happen. What does your life look like down 30 pounds, 50 pounds, or even more? To find out, do what we did and make your own 180 at awaken180weightloss.com.
At Diamonds Direct, we believe luxury is an experience and not a price tag. Luxury is expert guidance. It's the selection of 10 jewelry stores under one roof. It's saving time on endless comparison shopping, and you'll only find this experience at Diamonds Direct. Our luxury showroom has it all backed by our lifetime warranties and our signature best price guarantee. Diamonds Direct is the perfect combination of luxury and value, so you don't ever have to compromise. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
No matter where you are, Coughlin is there, in store or online. CoughlinCars.com. 13 new car brands, over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles, 16 convenient locations for sales, service, and parts, plus 4 state-of-the-art collision centers. CoughlinCars.com. Shop locally owned, CoughlinCars.com. Coughlin has the car for you.
For 100 years, our passionate Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
Hey folks, Austin Ward here. Over the past 10 years, the weight loss industry has seen it all. New medications, fad diets, sculpting, yet Awaken 180 still stands alone as the proven solution for lasting weight loss. Results at awaken180weightloss.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Don't let bad feet stop you from being active and getting healthy this year. Trade in your bad feet for good feet at the Good Feet store.
We have a lot of football happening. I'm here to help. Set your radio preset to the Fan. Very good. Now set the second one to ESPN Columbus. It's the HD2 button. Lastly, go to the Fan's HD3 and save the Fan 3. Crisis averted. You're welcome.
I like reading because it opens my imagination.
I love reading because when I learned how to read, it made me feel so special, and it takes me to a different place.
When children read age-appropriate books with diverse characters, they learn to see themselves and the world around them in new ways. I'm Ohio Education Association President Scott DeMora. Let's celebrate our nation of diverse readers together as we celebrate Read Across America all year round.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-472-2000, 614-472-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-472-2000, 614-472-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
The clouds will be rolling in as we head into the afternoon. We are looking at a weak disturbance that could bring in a few late day showers. Today's high temperature will be 45. Heading into tonight, we cool off to 30. The sunshine is back tomorrow with a high of 42. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Rothman and Ice present Under Pressure.
All right, I'm going to pivot on the fly.
All right, what do you got? What do you got?
At the beginning of the show, I was going to put the pressure on the Carolina Hurricanes. What do you do with Mikko Rantanen? Like, this is the 10th player to eclipse the 70-point mark this season. And it's so weird because he's going to leave Carolina after 13 games with them. It is just, this is, I guess, stars, and this is the whole, back to the Myles Garrett thing.
Yeah.
Stars that demand to get paid, a lot of them do get paid. And so when I think about Rantanen and what he was asking for, and what Colorado wasn't willing to pay him, and then he gets dealt to Carolina, and them thinking they could get him to sign a deal. And then when I find out he's asking to be paid more than Connor McDavid and just, maybe be the richest guy in the league, so looking to be the highest paid player in the league, I just didn't think it would happen. And I thought that which team was going to step up, and I said Dallas. And it does appear that it is going to go through with Dallas. And not only they're going to pay him probably $12.5 million a year, they're going to give up a couple of first rounders to do it. And they're going to sign him, it looks like, for 8 years. So they'll get him all the way through his career. He's 28. He is a star, but I don't think he's worth that.
Okay.
And so the pressure, I'm going to put it on him now. It's weird to put pressure on a guy that's making that amount of money.
Yeah.
But the only way I'll put pressure on him now is to kind of live up to being that guy. And, boy, I'll tell you, I'm looking up some salaries right now. I mean, Matthews is 13.2, McKinnon's at 12.6, McDavid's at 12.5, the Breadman's at 11.6.
Those are the big dogs right there.
And Rantanen's going to join that group with Dallas. I did grab them earlier as part of a parlay I'll tell you about in Bet365, but this is a really, really wild ride here because he was months away from becoming a UFA, Matty. They weren't able to get him to sign an extension. So now they have to make the biggest move for a second time and trade him out.
Wow.
And so it was weird because it was really shocking when they brought him in months of being away from UFA because they traded one of their top wingers, Martin Natchez, and a pretty young NHL center in Jack Drury in a second-round pick. And they did all that to Colorado to get Rantanen in late January. And now he's leaving after 13 games. They're getting some good value back for him. But it's amazing how he has just kind of hopped around because he wanted the bag, and now he's going to get it, it appears, with Dallas.
It's good stuff. I like it. First candidate for me, I'm starting in the National Basketball Association. Last night, you had the Jackets game going on. Then you had late night tip out in L.A. with the Knicks taking on the Lakers. Lakers get it done again. They've been rolling with Luka and LeBron. LeBron drops 31, 12, and 8. Luka 32, 12, and 7. So those guys are just absolutely already building amazing chemistry as they roll along after a few games. But this is about the New York Knicks because the New York Knicks are in a very interesting spot. They're third in the East. Nice little record, 40-22. However, they are now 0-8 versus the elite teams around the NBA, that being the Cavs, the Boston Celtics, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the aforementioned Los Angeles Lakers. Their offense has been good, but their defense has been a mess. And this is where the pressure is going to get applied because it's on Tom Thibodeau, who has been known as a defensive specialist at the head coaching spot. They've allowed the highest three-point percentage to their opponents this year at 37.5%. And the fifth highest field goal percentage at 47.5%. This roster ain't going to change too much. They locked in with the Nova boys. They gave up 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. You bring in Karl-Anthony Towns. You have 2 solidified stars in Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns and some good role players around them. So Tom Thibodeau, if this isn't a decent playoff run, I will not be surprised at all if Knicks management feels like we got to move on and find somebody else. And maybe with Tom, we've reached our ceiling. So Tom Thibodeau, head coach of the New York Knicks, you're on the pressure list, big dog.
Yeah. You know, Matty, I'll stay with coaches.
All right, what do you got?
And I think this guy's just sealed his fate. Kyle Neptune. Feel bad. This is the pressure is on Villanova's head coach here. When Jay Wright left, Neptune, who started way back as Jay Wright's video coordinator back in 2008, and now they're on the brink of 3 straight seasons on the outside looking into March Madness. This is Villanova, proud basketball program. They beat Cincinnati and UConn when we thought it mattered. They beat St. John's and Marquette recently, which I thought was fairly big, but not big enough. They dropped from first 4 out to next 4 out. So they've been dragged down by some brutal losses. I'm looking at their schedule right now. Columbia, Virginia on a neutral, G-Town. This guy excels at one thing and one thing only, blowing leads. Villanova has had so many games that they should have, could have won. And you can be sure there's going to be a coaching change at Nova. It just feels that way. That pressure is severely on him now.
Okay. Going to the NFL for my next one, specifically the AFC South. And I'm putting the pressure on wide receiver Christian Kirk because it's on now. Because your team just disrespected you. Your former team just disrespected you because they're not worried about you staying in the division. Christian Kirk got traded yesterday from the Jacksonville Jaguars to the Houston Texans for a 7th-round pick. A couple years ago, going into the 2020 season, the dude signed a 4-year, $72 million deal. Looked good out of the gate. First year, 84 receptions, 1,100 yards, and 8 touchdowns. The 2 years after that, he played in a combined 20 games and didn't have more than 787 yards in one of those 2 seasons. So you got a little disrespect going on here from your former team, and the team that just now acquired you views themselves, as a contender, that being the Houston Texans, based off of the confidence that C.J. Stroud has brought down to H-Town. Who knows what's going to happen with Tank Dell with him recovering from a significant injury. It sounds very dicey when it comes to Stephon Diggs and whether or not they're running it back with him. So they need him to be a consistent playmaker opposite Nico Collins and the gang down there in Houston. So Christian Kirk, who just got acquired by the Texans yesterday, he's on the pressure list.
All right, finally for me, I am going to put some pressure on Scotty Scheffler. It's weird. I get it. When you finish like 9th, 35th, and 3rd, and it feels like an underachievement. But he's yet to win this season. Every time he tees it up, he seems like he's going to win. He hasn't even really been in real major position to win either. He's the clear favorite every week. He's the favorite this week at Bay Hill at the Arnold Palmer tournament. And he's the defending champ. And he's finished inside the top 4 3 straight times there. He's gone, this is weird to say, 3 tournaments without winning. What? Like, how is that possible? But here we are, and I just checked the leaderboard on Scotty, and he is, let's see if he's top 10 right now. He may have just dipped out of that for a second. He's now 19th. He's won over today, even on the tournament, so he's 19th. He dropped 8 spots with that bogey. So he's going to be chasing guys like Ludwig Oberg, Morikawa, Cantlay, Rose, Thomas, Finau. Rory's in this tournament. Keegan Bradley, Wyndham Clark, who played well yesterday. Shane Lowry. Where is Scotty Scheffler, Matty?
Yeah.
He's not just a guy, is he?
No, he's not.
Did he lose some secret powers that we weren't aware of
I hope
lately?
not, because
He
I
didn't
enjoy
shave that beard.
That's what I was going to
did he?
ask. We got the beard right now? What's he
Better.
got going on with that? We got the players next week? Or am I making that up? Did I see that floating
Sounds
around
right.
on TV somewhere? The players
That
next
sounds
week?
right.
Okay. Looking forward to that. Last candidate for me. You good or you good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Last candidate for me. We're coming to your division, AR. You know this division very well.
To your city.
That being the NFC North. And I'm looking at Caleb Williams, and I'm putting him on the pressure list because I like what the Bears have done this offseason so far. We haven't even got the free agency. We haven't got to the draft yet, and they're doing a good job of supporting their young quarterback. Last offseason, they did it with playmakers and what they did in the draft, bringing in Keenan Allen, bringing in Rome Odunze to pair with DJ Moore. This offseason, you bring in Joe Thuney, an all-pro guard. You bring in Jonah Jackson, who's been a very good offensive lineman in the league throughout his career.
You trade for Trey Hendrickson.
Maybe in play. I like what you're thinking. And then they bring in Ben Johnson to be the head coach, who a lot of people say is one of the best young offensive minds in the sport. Last year, he watched Jaden Daniels go on to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, and it was a learning experience for Caleb Williams. But I think they put their young quarterback in position to succeed. He's got to grab a hold of the steering wheel and get to the Bears to a better place than where they were last year. So Caleb Williams, the 1-1 from last year's NFL draft, he's on the pressure list.
All right, they're all in the cooker this weekend. When we come back in 2 minutes, Bill Bender from the Sporting News, the senior writer, the college football playoff. Was it a victory only because Ohio State won it all, or does it still need some tweaks? We'll ask him next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
So it was the fourth quarter and we're down by 5. Sweat pouring down my face. Suddenly it hit me. If only I could wrap part of the towel around my forehead. And that's how I became the first basketball player to wear a headband.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Your old or broken phone can let you down when you need it most.
Perfect.
But at Verizon, trade in any old phone from our top brands and get the most for it, up to $2,000 in value for an amazing new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence and a new line on My Plan, and iPad and Apple Watch Series 10. That's like a 3-for-1. And you can get it on any plan. At Verizon, trade in your old phone for a brand new iPhone 16 Pro, iPad, and Apple Watch. The other guys won't give you that. Visit Verizon.com today. Additional terms apply. Service plan required for Apple Watch and iPad. Up to $2,000 value based on iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help?
Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but they outnumber me, man.
Whoa, that's a lot of glitter paint. Let's trade
lives.
At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com/iPhone for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Maddie's favorite show is Big Brother. Don't read into it. He's only watching strangers through hidden cameras. You're listening to Rothman and Creepy Stalker Guy.
All right, here we go. Talking college football with our friend Billy Bender. He's back. Sporting News, senior writer. Welcome in, Billy B. How you feeling?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so there's been a lot of talk, and not here, so to speak, because of Ohio State, going through that gauntlet and winning it all, and made everybody around here feel like, why do you need to fix anything? I think if it would have gone south and who knows, but the bracket, the way they had it set up, and I said it from the very beginning once we saw it, was why wouldn't they seed them the way they rank them? Why would you give teams these auto buys and things like that because the whole committee, the reason we have a committee is for them to determine who's the most deserving of getting in. So why would we just stop the conversation there and not keep carrying it forward? Well, how do they deserve to be ranked? If you're talking about how they deserve to get in, why are we stopping the conversation there? And listen, this worked out great for Ohio State. They played well. Do you think this needs fixed soon?
They need to match the rankings with the seeding. It's pretty simple to me. I mean, Ohio State did win the national title, but they also played in an 8-9 game. So imagine reverse that, and let's say Ohio State goes 12-0 next year, and then their 8-9 game is, Penn State and U, as opposed to playing a group of 5 school. I mean, the 8-9 matchup, had we seeded this thing correctly, would have been Indiana versus Boise State. And that feels like the 8-9 matchup we would probably see in the basketball tournament.
In Bloomington, by the way. They would have gotten a home game, I bet. Indiana.
Yeah, that would have been, and that would have been more fun to watch Signetti and Ashton Gianti play that out there. I mean, Oregon has a legit gripe. Ohio State beat them, fair and square, Rose Bowl, all that things. But if you're the Ducks, you're like, man, we had a great regular season, the best regular season of any Power 4 school, and our reward was an angry Ohio State team coming off a 25-point win.
So Jim Knowles, he's out, and Matt Patricia is in. Knowles goes over to be a part of James Franklin's staff, and Ryan Day had some work to do, right? He had a lot of movement on his coaching staff this offseason, but I know for a lot of Buckeye fans, they're going to be very interested to see if the defensive level of play takes any type of dip at all, led by Matt Patricia. When you found out that that's who Ryan Day was hiring as his defensive coordinator, Bill, what were your thoughts on that move?
Interesting. I'm scrolling through some tweets now of his availability today. I didn't make it over there. I'm hung up on some March Madness duties, but yeah, anytime you can build your defense around Caleb Downs, that's a start. And they are going to have 4- and 5-star talent, and it's going to be cool to see what he does with that. Now, we'd be naive to think there'll be some hiccups. I mean, they lose how many guys to the NFL? 9, 10 veteran players that have played a lot of football. And, so early in the season, that will be the test when you're playing Texas in week 1 is who these new guys are and how well they play early.
Well, listen, you brought up the opener, so let's go right there. Just from a quarterback standpoint, the fact that Texas gets to pivot from Quinn to Arch Manning and Ryan Day has to pivot from Will Howard, a seasoned veteran, to a young quarterback, what do you think the learning curve is going to be for Ohio State at quarterback? And would you have some concern in week 1 in the matchup here at the Shoe for Ohio State?
Well, I mean, that's a test. There's no layup line before the game. So you're coming right at it. And I think if Texas comes up here and wins, I don't know what metric or internet server could hold the hype on Arch Manning if they come up and win the game. Same thing with Ohio State, though, whether it's Julian Sayin or someone else like Tavian St. Clair, whoever starts at quarterback. If they win that game against Texas, how do you hold down the hype on them? I know everything we've read and heard about Julian Sayin. I know just from watching, and this is a loose thing to say, but when you watch quarterbacks in warm-ups, I don't know everything about that position, but I know the ball looks pretty good coming off his hand.
Let's go over to Eugene. We found out yesterday, I believe, that Dan Lanning, he gets a new deal and gets himself into some elite territory as far as the millions per year. go for the head coaches around the sport. But I want to ask you about Oregon now in year 2, coming into this conference with a new quarterback. It looks like it's going to be Dante Moore. We'll see if something happens that, is unforeseen there. But your thoughts, Bill, on Oregon in this conference now and what they may look like in year 2 in the Big Ten?
Well, a couple things. You mentioned Dante Moore. He had a year to sit, so this is the first time in 3 seasons where Dan Lanning isn't going to a veteran transfer who's played a ton of football right away. Now you have Bo Nix, and then you go to Dylan Gabriel. Those guys, I think, Matt, do they have 100 starts between them? Maybe. It's probably pretty close. So Dante Moore, it didn't go well early for him at UCLA, but I think that year will make a difference. They did lose a lot of an offensive line. They're going to have to replace those guys. But I think they've planted the seeds for a nice – I'm going to try this one on you, see what you think. A nice kind of secondary rivalry with Ohio State in the Big Ten. Ohio State's never going to have somebody bigger than Michigan. But Oregon, the back and forth this year, those 2 games, I think there's potential for a pretty cool rivalry between those 2 schools.
Bigger than Penn State?
Well, yeah. I'll say yeah, because State hasn't beaten Ohio State since 2016. Now, next year, is it bigger than Penn State? No, not with the Jim Knowles layer and Penn State bringing everybody back. But, I mean, you guys know that one. In order for it to be a rivalry, somebody has to win a couple. And Penn State hasn't beat Ohio State since 2016. And I could make the argument they shouldn't have really won that game on the blocked field goal. Sorry to bring that up on a Friday in Columbus.
No, you can bring up anything, man. They're still basking the glow of a title. Penn State did have – listen, it was Franklin's best season, and now he's got all the big firepower coming back. He might get a senior boost like Ohio State did this year. How do you feel about that? Aller, Allen, and Singleton coming back.
They have the all-in year. And where it's different, though, is Ohio State had their all-in year last year. A lot of guys stayed. It worked. Michigan did the year before. A lot of guys stayed, and it worked. Can Penn State do that? I think that's the pressure point. I would make the argument that of the teams in the top 5 in the early polls, Texas, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oregon, Georgia, and Penn State, that's 6. I think Penn State has the most pressure on them because anytime you have all those guys come back and you've been to the Final Four, although some would argue, yeah, you got to the Final Four, but you beat SMU and Boise State. There's still that pressure to beat Ohio State. They play next year. They do play Oregon. They're going to be in some big spots and a big year for James Franklin because I think if they don't get back to the Final Four, then you're going to start to wonder, okay, if not now, when?
Bill, you mentioned this being a big year for James Franklin, and I completely agree with you. I think the same can be said for Kalen DeBoer. Year 1 was fine. It wasn't horrible by any means, but and we all know the expectation level that was set based off of Nick Saban and just the history of that program. When you look at where Kalen DeBoer is going into year 2, do you think Bama can take a big-time leap and get into the contender circle next year?
They're going to have to. It's a boomer-bust program, and he's the guy that followed the guy. Not used to losing 4 games. I think in the 15 or so years I've covered college football for Sporting News, the 2 places where they react the most sky is falling down after a loss are Columbus and Tuscaloosa. And it's a little bit different in Tuscaloosa because it's not Saban now. And I remember what Alabama football was before Saban. It wasn't very good. But obviously after Bear Bryant. But, yeah, I mean, if they come out and lose to Florida State in week 1 somehow, I can't imagine the reaction. Their September schedule's tough. And, they didn't look too good in the bowl game against Michigan. So there's a lot of work to do. And I do think hiring Grubb, his offensive coordinator from Washington, will help, and that's the side of the ball I'll be watching. But, man, they're going to have to be more consistent, especially on the road.
Good job, my man, as always. Thanks for making time for us, Billy. Be well. Have a good weekend. We'll talk again soon.
Anytime, guys. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
You got it. Bill Bender, Sporting News, senior writer on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. If you think about the college football playoff as a whole, Maddie, I know a lot of people were worried about it, right? It's going to dilute rivalries. You can backdoor your way in. You can have more losses than ever now and still get in. But I think as a whole, even though the whole bracket didn't live up to it, and I think I'd be saying this regardless of whether Ohio State won it all or not, the intrigue was there. We had some matchups. Yeah, we had some duds.
Early.
Yeah,
and then it got rolling.
And then it got rolling, and then it didn't come off to me as that it was too long or that teams were depleted because of, battle of attrition and all that. I mean, Georgia certainly had their injury at quarterback because their boy decided to wait a little too long on a Hail Mary. And, I mean, I saw what Kirby saw. Because, by the way, when Kirby Smart was interviewed at that point, after that play, he said the same thing I was saying. Like, he's got to recognize that. You can't just have your arm in such a vulnerable position on a Hail Mary and sit there for 5 seconds and not expect that thing to get torn off. But back to the playoff thing. I do think that it had intrigue. It had people zoomed in on it. It felt like more games mattered.
Yeah,
it just had a good feel to it.
It's the sport so many people love, and you labeled it right. It was games that were labeled as big-time games, which they were, because you were on a path. These teams were on the path to the national championship, and whenever you have that, of course, all eyeballs and everybody's going to be at full attention there. I'm not one of those people that's really overreacting to what we saw in year one. It's not perfect. There's changes coming. The reseeding is going to come. The expansion again of the playoff is going to come, and that may be good, that may be bad. I don't know. I just got my popcorn ready, and I'm here for all of it because once we did get past those first-round matchups, we got some good stuff, and the games, for the most part, delivered, and that's all I could ask for.
Yeah, I don't think – and there wasn't a lot of whining about, even though they were duds, that you played them the way they were laid out. Those teams deserved their at-bat. They got it. And
it just kind of spoke to kind of the Jimmies and the Joes conversation, the early matchups where, you see why these program recruits the way they recruit. And they have the financial backing that they have. You're still going to have some of that early on, but once the big dogs meet later on, we should be getting bangers.
All right, his honor defend, Ryan Day at the podium talking about all sorts of new stuff with his program, and Brian Hartline's right-hand man as well. Rothman and Ice and the Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
At Diamonds Direct, our experts go the extra mile to ensure you have the tools to say I do with absolute confidence. Our promise to you is a completely risk-free shopping experience rooted in transparency, education, and integrity. No pressure, no intimidation, just clarity and confidence in your purchase. But we're about more than just price. Everything is backed by our exclusive guarantees. Put our tools to the test against any competitor, and our expert staff will ensure you get the very best overall value and unforgettable experience. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Hey, it's Anthony from my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. If you're searching for a Honda lease deal here in Central Ohio, I know you've come to the right place. Leasing allows you to enjoy that flexibility in one of their fantastic, sharp, reliable vehicles. I'm so confident that Rich and his team can tailor a lease deal that's right for you. Like a 2025 CRV LX all-wheel drive, $349 a month for 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $19.99 down. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
That's the sound of a Mountain Dew. And that's you enjoying its refreshing citrus kick. That's a cool breeze suddenly whistling through your hair.
Whoa!
That's you realizing you're now on a mountain.
This is epic!
That's you stating the obvious. That's you stepping up to the plate. That's you winning your kickball game.
Yes, let's go!
That's you taking another sip of your... Do the Dew.
Breaking news. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. TNCs apply.
1-800-GOT-JUNK makes space for possibilities.
When our clean, shiny truck arrives, it's the sign of a new beginning, a clean start, a breath of fresh air.
All the animals start giggling, a rainbow appears, and music fills the air.
Your best friend calls with happy news. Every table has fresh flowers on it, and your nights are full of candlelight.
We bring the springtime.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Morning Juice.
You want your product to be seen by a lot of people. And the college football product is good on TV. But going against the NFL, that's tough.
Morning Juice is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Weekday mornings at 6. The Fan.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Well, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
Lowe's knows that your deadlines don't change, even when your job does. But with Lowe's Buy Online, Pick Up in Store, we'll help you adjust on the fly. And when you absolutely can't leave the project, we can deliver to your job site as soon as same day. Lowe's knows pros. We help, you save. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
The Fan Poll is brought to you by Caster Connection. Visit CasterConnection.com to shop online or to work with our Caster Solution Specialists.
Rothman and Ice present Buckeye Bulletin.
Sponsored by Logan AC and Heat Services. Feeling the chill? Call the experts at Logan Services now for hot deals on Train furnaces, including 0% APR for 60 months.
All right, Buckeye Bulletin time, and Ryan Day and some of his coaches meeting the media today, talking about the offseason and portals and quarterbacks and new coaches and trying to find that magic feeling again. One of the guys that maybe would be most unfamiliar to people is Tyler Bowen, who was the offense coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Virginia Tech. And he comes over to Ohio State. I think he was in his third season maybe at VT as the OC, and he was coaching tight ends and quarterbacks before that. And Ryan Day talked about how his new O-line coach and the value that he provides.
Ryan will be a first-time play caller for us and wanted to make sure that we had somebody in the room in the run game that had coordinator experience. I think Tyler, when you look at, his past and his background, it's pretty diverse in terms of, he's coached the O-line, he's coached the tight ends, he's obviously been a part of the run game coordinator. And that's anytime you're in that, you're coaching the O-line because there's more offensive linemen on the field than any other position. And so he played the position. He's a very, very good coach. He understands it. Even in a short period of time, you can ask our offensive lineman. He's on it.
Let me tell you, he has, when you think about, you start looking at some of these coaches, Manny, and who they have coached. And I mentioned that he had coached some tight ends, and obviously Ryan said, being a player himself as an O-line guy. But Freiermuth and Gesicki and Chase Edmonds and guys that went to the NFL, this guy's coached.
Yeah.
Derwin Gray, guys in that offensive line. And so he has a lot of history of coaching guys that have gone on to produce at the NFL level.
It's good stuff. You love to hear it, right? And based off what we saw last year from Coach Fry in that offensive line, credit to him. I always like to bring his name up, right, with how he got those guys together. I know he's going on to the NFL, I believe, to coach up Paris Johnson and some of those guys with the Arizona Cardinals. But that was a unit that really came together at a critical time after dealing with two significant injuries. One of those guys, and Josh Simmons, who is going to be a first-round pick, it sounds like, and then Seth McLaughlin won the Remington Trophy this year for the best center in the sport. So now turning the page over to the new coach there, he's got work to do, right, with some new faces up front. So hopefully that can all gel together because that's going to be so important for the growth of whoever is the starting quarterback that's going to step into play there. Julian, Lincoln, Tavion, we have no idea where it's going to be, but making sure that guy is comfortable mentally and not having to worry about defensive linemen, linebackers, those guys just getting through, Swiss cheese offensive line. So that's going to be paramount for them to figure out. It's always the key to success, but this year it's really going to be important based off of a new guy being under center.
On the flip side of the ball, the Matt Patricia hire, and you and I talked about this a lot, that now just zeroing in on being a defensive coordinator may give him a big chance to kind of reaffirm the kind of coach he believes he is. Ryan Day was asked about the lack of recent college experience, and here's what Ryan had to say about that.
I grew up in New England, and I obviously saw the run that they went on there. And when you go on a run the way that they went on, you stay at a place for a long time. And I don't know if that was something that maybe even early on he thought he was going to be in the NFL for as long as he did. But when you're around a great organization that goes on the run that they went on, you end up at a place for a long period of time. And then he's there for a while and then has an opportunity to become a head coach. Well, now, it's almost like a different mindset. It's maybe a little bit of a different chapter for him. Doesn't mean I'm sure he'll have an opportunity to go back to the NFL, but it's Ohio State. I think he understands the culture. We spent a lot of time talking, and I think he sees the opportunity here, and he's excited about it. And I think it's a new chapter that he can absolutely come in here and make a difference. And I think that's what he wants to do. And I don't think the recruiting part is going to be very difficult at all. And you'll see it when you get around him.
It's been 20 years since he's been around the college game. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Won a few Super Bowls with Belichick in New England. He was almost CB's coach in Cleveland when he was getting a lot of looks off his time in New England.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the Detroit took a chance on him. And I think the Giants were in on him at one point. But it's kind of went down this way because he kind of had to come back to his roots in college football. And what better place to join than talent-rich Ohio State?
Yeah, I can't wait to see his system and how aggressive he is as a play caller and all just those things that we'll find out once we get into the season. Can't imagine we'll gather much information on what he wants to do in the spring showcase and all of those things. But, yeah, you laid out his track record, as did Coach Day. He's been around greatness, more arguably the best head coach the sport's ever seen in Bill Belichick, who is a defensive mind himself. So I'm sure some of those things will pop up, and he's got some good building blocks in place on the defensive side of the ball with Sonny Styles and Jermaine Matthews, and obviously Caleb Downs with how elite he is on the back end. So he'll have some veterans that can help out the young guys that are going to have a lot on their plate, and hopefully that bar that's been set very high by the players and the coach and Jim Knowles over the last few years will remain that high, because they're going to need that, right? Especially when you're talking about breaking in a new quarterback. Maybe that offense isn't going to click the way that we're expecting it to click right away, and the defense can help out the offense by limiting the at-bats and, more importantly, the points for the opposing team.
And a new coordinator.
Yep.
And Brian Hartline. Everybody has a world of confidence in his ability, his knowledge of the game. Here's Ryan Day on kind of the we believe, but it's always going to be kind of a proven on the field kind of thing.
I believe very strongly that Brian's going to do a great job as an offense coordinator. I think he's really grown in a lot of areas. I give him a lot of credit for, he was named coordinator a couple years ago. I still called the plays. And then we brought in Chip and his attitude of I'm just going to learn from Chip in a big way. And then some of the work that he did, Keenan did, and Billy did down the stretch in some of the pass game. And I think he's got, a really good handle now on protections and even in the run game. He's ready to call it now.
Very well done.
It's his time, AR. It's time to step up.
Hopefully so.
Yeah.
All right. There's your Buckeye Bulletin. When we come back, top of the hour, deep dive. We are getting to about 65 minutes until the end of the trade deadline in the NHL. Brian Hedger of the Dispatch, we'll try to ring him up if he's not too busy. And it looks like the Jackets are kind of doing something here, and I'm not exactly sure what. We'll see. I'm just kind of reading some things as we go along here. I think they have made a move. I don't think it's a massive one, but we'll give you those details when we come back after a SportsCenter update. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
Common Man has spent the past 18 years telling you how much he hates people. And yes, that probably means you, too. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Well, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and spring's going to be here before you know it. I know it feels cold now, but before too long, you're going to be outside running around, jogging, wanting to do golf, explore time with your family, get outside and do the things you love. Just be active. And listen, a lot of my friends, they're asking me about QC Kinetics joint treatments. They want to know if they should consider it for their joint pain. And if you're wondering, maybe you could be a good candidate, let's see if the answer is yes to any of these questions. Quality of life impacted by chronic pain, knees, hips, back, shoulders, other things. Trouble sleeping, walking, day-to-day movement? Check. Next, avoiding surgery, the pain, the downtime? Check. Most importantly, do you miss doing the things I talked about when the spring and summer are here? Check. Don't wait. If you answered yes to one or any of those, you'd be a great candidate. You can go in there, go to QC Kinetics, ask for their free consultation, find out what it's all about, learn about the latest advances in regenerative medicine. They've got locations in Dublin and Gehenna, or you can go to qckinetics.com/Columbus, or better yet, call 380-208-4544.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help?
Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but they outnumber me, man.
Oh, that's a lot of glitter paint.
Let's trade lives.
At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com/iPhone for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and, of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Finding the right employee for your company is tough. One wrong hire can be a major setback. You're not alone if you face this. A recent survey by Robert Half shows nearly half of hiring managers readily admit to making a bad hire. Luckily, there's a solution. With Robert Half's specialized recruiter's experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can have the right skilled professional in place quickly. We understand what it takes to build winning teams because at Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Cole Bartemus. It was a media frenzy for the Ohio State football coaching staff this morning. Matt Patricia is already seeing one giant benefit of coaching at Ohio State.
Hey, look, there's nothing better than Ohio high school football. I mean, this is like, I know that from even being in the NFL, like just where all the good players are coming from. So I'm excited to be in this state. That is amazing.
Less inspiring than that, hockey last night was a dud. The Panthers shut out the Jackets 3-0. If getting blanked isn't bad enough, Sergei Bobrovsky only had to stop 16 shots. Buckeye hoops, no action from the men tonight. They'll finish their regular season in Bloomington tomorrow at 3:45, but the women will have their first matchup of the Big Ten tournament this evening against Iowa at 9 o'clock. The Hawkeyes are the defending champs in the conference, although they aren't nearly as good as they were last year. If the Buckeyes win tonight, they will likely play a really good UCLA team tomorrow, barring a major upset. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Most shows just skim the surface, but Rothman and I feel like the biggest story of the day deserves a closer look. It's time for a deeper dive.
Sponsored by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
All right, final hour of the program. We'll have Tyvis Powell on bottom of the hour talking Brownies with him, the big decisions they'll have to make. We'll get back to the big story on Trey Hendrickson and what's going to happen with him and the Bengals. But I did want to touch real quickly on the NHL trade deadline, which is at 3 o'clock today. And it does look like the Jackets are acquiring a centerman from San Jose and Luke Kunin.
We're still working on that right now.
It's Kunin. Yeah, it's Luke Kunin.
Okay.
Because he's a former first rounder. I got to go back. I think that's about 9 years ago. He was drafted by the Wild. He was not drafted by San Jose. And he played a lot of games. And right-handed shot, pretty good player. I think that this is an interesting deal. I don't know. He's been a part of a couple trades. That's the weird thing. First-round pick 8 years ago and kind of being traded a couple times in an 8-year career. Because the Wild drafted him. It was 15th overall in 2016. And then they brought him to the NHL a couple years later. So it wasn't like instantly like, okay, he was drafted in 16, and all of a sudden he was in the NHL. And I think he had a pretty slow start. And then all of a sudden he started to kick in, had some career highs, scoring some goals, some points and all that. And they dealt him to Nashville. And then with that point, he was kind of on a downward trend. And so the numbers are still kind of far off that 30-point ceiling that he managed, I guess, at his very best. But I think what you'll like about this guy is that he's physical. And when you have a physically kind of imposing centerman, and if he gets the backing of a pretty good line on the Blue Jackets, and I think that he'll be fairly I think this is probably pretty affordable.
Okay.
And so I really don't know where that is, but you get him on a team to try to kick that goal scoring back into gear, and all of a sudden you may have found something here with a former first rounder who's not old by any means. I did pick up one little tidbit, Matty, which I enjoyed.
What do you got?
And when he gets here, we'll have to ask him. Mm-hmm. That during the lockdown, during COVID, it looks like he and his wife did adopt a dog named Rocco.
There you go. You're getting a jersey tonight.
I don't know if you have a little clapping sound effect in there, CD, but oh yeah, let me here. I'll give you that.
Play that for him.
Very proud of you. That's very nice.
That's very nice. It really is.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool.
Luke Kunin. So we welcome him to the Jackets. I don't know what they gave up to get him or what the deal is here, but
yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I've been working on that. It looks like Pierre LeBrun has not reported that.
Tell him how Pierre reported the trade.
Can I say that on the?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's just you're reading a word.
He said Columbus Blue Jackers are acquiring Luke Kunin from the San Jose Sharks. And then he quickly quote tweeted that and said, obviously I meant Blue Jackets. It was a typo. We got you, Pierre. We got you. We understand. Especially those guys that are on a day like this, AR, where he's probably typing so fast to get it out there to be first. Like typos, they're all good with me. So hopefully this is a guy coming in that can just keep the positive momentum that they've had for a while now rolling. I know they've hit a couple speed bumps here down in Florida, but they're getting out of there, going over to the East Coast, and we shall see if he can get on the ice right away and helping them know that's going to be the plan. We had discussions about this day all week long, AR, and you and I didn't expect a big splash coming from the Big Don over there. This doesn't seem to be that, but sometimes when you're a guy like Luke, and you mentioned the journey that he's been on, it could be right place, right time, and more importantly than that, fit. And hopefully it'll be a good fit for him here that meshes well with his skill set, and Dean Evison and the assistants can get in there, grind the tape, figure out what he does well, doesn't do well, and get him out there on a line that's going to make him comfortable, and away we go. So I like that they did something, and maybe they're not done. But this team, I think, earned something from the front office to say, hey, look, we've gotten to this point. Maybe make a tweak here, a tweak there, which they've done, and hopefully he can be a dude that helps out the club.
Yeah, no truth to the rumor they're changing the name over there.
The Blue Jackers?
Yeah, with a different logo and all that stuff. I don't think that's going to happen.
The only thing they need to do is get those Stadium Series sweaters in rotation. Not all the time. Maybe once a month,
give the
whatever it is.
Love.
Yeah, man. Like, those things were nice. I'm in on that.
It may be time.
Yeah, let's do it.
There's just been so much talk about it. I agree. It's
like the Bengals with how good their all-white alternate is. I'm like, I'd like for them to wear that a few more times throughout the season.
Yeah, if you wear it a few more times, then it kind of loses the effect. It's
not really. It's cool.
Balance.
It looks good.
Yeah. So Luke Cunnin, we'll see. I can't imagine they gave up anything more than a second.
Yeah, I'm hitting refresh over here, and then Pierre LeBrun has not updated that, and we'll see if anybody on the beat will have that. But yeah, new jacket in the building, and he adopts dogs. He's your guy. His
dog's name is Rocco.
That's good.
Perfect.
That's good. We got Rocco. We got Reggie with Sivo.
We got Bo. Z.
Yeah.
That's my goal is to get every one of those guys to adopt a shelter dog. That would be something.
Warm your heart, melt your heart. Actually.
Yeah. Run me over with the Zamboni.
While we're here talking,
I'd be good with it.
No, I need you around. here, okay? Can't run you over just yet. Not yet, at least. You've got the Hockey and Hounds gear on. Let the folks know where they can get it.
Yes,
they're not aware.
Thank you, Maddie. WhereI'mFrom.com is the website. Go to collections, click on Hockey and Hounds, and we'll find you something special before the end of the season. And every last dime of the proceeds, will help animal rescues and shelters here in Central Ohio. We've been doing it for years, ever since Torts was here, and we've raised thousands of dollars because of you people out there. You get a great piece of gear, and you will know that this is a non-for-profit move. And so 100% of the proceeds, whereimfrom.com is the site.
AR, I think we may have a Blues clue to follow when it comes to the number one overall pick in the draft. The Tennessee Titans have been on the clock for a while now, and today they released defensive lineman Harold Landry. And so to me, this screams Abdul Carter, come on down. And so this is just one little nugget here I think we should remember when we get to draft day, is that the Titans have been making moves in their defensive line room and getting rid of a guy that was a Pro Bowler before in Harold Landry, and now they need pass rushing help. So I don't think any of us should be surprised at this point if the first pick is going to be Abdul Carter out of Penn State.
Listen, when Stafford chose to stay with the Rams instead of accepting a trade to either Tommy Boy's team in Las Vegas or the Giants, the Titans have a lot of leverage at the top of this 25 draft. And so it's one of those things that they easily could take a quarterback. They could. And it wouldn't be a horrible decision in this NFL, this era we're in. But Abdul Carter would be one of the, if not the top guy on the defensive side of the ball getting after quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But if they aren't in love with any of the quarterbacks at the top of this draft, and a lot of people have told us that there's some stuff to like, but maybe not fall in love with, that you're getting a pretty safe overall first-round pick if you grab him at the top.
And so it'll be big for Abdul to, when Penn State has their pro day, to show that foot is okay. I know Shefty reported that he had been advised by doctors to not have surgery, which is a great thing for him, but he's got to go out there and do that. I think if he checks that last box and gets through that pro day cleanly, but more importantly, looks the part throughout the drills and all of that, then I believe he's going to be the guy. There's reports out of Nashville that they're looking for a generational talent, and because of the uncertainty at the quarterback position, which you mentioned, there feels to be more certainty about what Abdul Carter is and what he will be in the league. And so this speaks to will speak to eventually, if Carter is the pick, their confidence in Will Levis, that what happened last year is not going to be, a reoccurring thing year in and year out with the amount of turnovers. And so Brian Callahan leaves Cincinnati as the offensive coordinator. They have him in there as an offensive mind who they think can speak to him. And now there's a lot of pressure on both of those guys, I think, next year if this is the path that they're going down to get this thing right. Because if you're Brian Callahan, attaching yourself to Will Levis, to me, isn't the safest place to be, but they must see something that we don't right now.
The only other thing that we brought up a few weeks ago was Abdul Carter's foot, right?
Yeah.
And that he didn't. No, I shouldn't say he didn't need surgery. What'd they say? That
Shefty reported that doctors advised him that he didn't need surgery. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I doubt that affects his top pick status. I mean, I think we would have heard more about that.
He's got to do some good things at the pro day, though. That's a big box for him to check, in my opinion. Right? Like if you don't perform at the pro day and there's still gray area with that foot, then if you're the Titans, you got to redirect your thoughts maybe to somebody else.
If he can't kind of do the tight cornering and changing direction real sharp,
we got to see that.
Then all of a sudden, then the other weaknesses start to come into play. Then they're not so sure about, because he's one of those guys that when he is healthy, he's a massive difference maker. Now, they could chalk it up to that he is injured. It's nothing serious, and that we could still draft him and get it right. But, yeah, I agree with you. The pro day will be big. We'll come back with some pre-snap reads. Jerry Jones, is he a spender or a saver? You'll hear it next. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. The one you love is the light of your life. And if you're like most of us, you want to do whatever you can to nurture your relationship. But if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction, you know the impacts the condition is likely having on you and your partner. ED is a relationship destroyer. It can contribute to depression, distancing, conflicts, and even breakups and divorce. And what's so disturbing about this is that most men who suffer with ED can be successfully treated, but a lot of guys don't seek treatment when they should. At Tri-State Men's Health, we have protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases. In fact, if you're like most guys, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and maybe find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. So call Tri-State Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Breaking news coming in from Bet360. .365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch. Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics? Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Don't let life get in the way of what's most important. Visit shelterinsurance.com to learn more. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app or listen at home on your smart speaker or open up the iHeartRadio app or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the dopes at The Fan.
Those endless
endless possibilities. There's billions of books out there, so there's no limit to what I can read.
The reasons why I love reading is because I get to see different perspectives of other people's lives.
Reading age-appropriate books by diverse authors with diverse viewpoints opens the world for young readers and helps them find their own voice. Join the Ohio Education Association in celebrating Read Across America all year round to help create a nation of diverse readers ready for the future.
Some foot issues just can't be fixed by those expensive shoe stores or shoe inserts. A foot exam from a doctor of podiatric medicine, who is the medical expert in foot and ankle care, may give solutions after doing a complete foot examination. If you suffer from foot, heel, or ankle pain, let us help you find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association so you know you are being treated by the very best. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are looking at a cloudy and dreary afternoon today with highs in the 40s. Heading into tomorrow, look for sunshine with a high of 42. Beautiful bright blue skies on Sunday with a high of 53. By Monday, we're up to 60. By Tuesday, we're up to 70. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Rothman and Ice present Pre-Snap Reads.
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF. Or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
A little Bet365 time.
Let's get into it, because at Bet365, folks, we don't do ordinary. Bet365 has launched a new sign-up offer. Listen to this. You bet $5, you get $150 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. Customers will receive bonus bets after signing up.
Well, all right. Little success last night. The Fighting Andrew Dakiches of Illinois State, they won that game, laid the 5.5 yesterday on the air. It was dicey for a little bit, but they extended that lead in the second half and held them off no problem. I think they won by double digits. The other thing I wanted to bring to the equation today, because I've been talking about it so much, is that Bet365 finally woke up a little bit on the future of the Cavs.
Hey,
I told you guys a week and a half ago they were offering them at 7.5 to 1 to win it all. They are now down to 6 to 1.
Okay.
So they finally woke up and thought, hey, we could have a lot of problems here if we keep exposing ourselves at 7.5 to 1, but 6 to 1 is still pretty good. And then the other thing that I learned today was that the Knicks, last night when they lost Jalen Brunson when he rolled his ankle, the Knicks have to go back-to-back tonight at the Clippers. The Clippers are fighting for a playoff spot. Well, it's not really back-to-back, right? Well, yes, it is. They played last night.
Absolutely.
All right, so I guess because they're in California and it's not like a roadie again. But anyway, they will play 2 games in a row. Mm-hmm. They are a 7.5-point underdog, the Knicks are to the Clippers. Decent amount of points, but the Knicks are horrendous as a dog this year. They're horrible straight up. They're horrible against the spread. Clippers are rested, fighting for a playoff spot. There's a little blood in the water tonight. Should we lay the 7.5?
It's dicey for me. But I'm going to...
Without Brunson?
They still got some dudes. I would actually take the 7.5.
All right.
I'm going to do that, and I'm also going to add 4 3-pointers made for the Beard James Harden at plus 105. James Harden coming off a 50-piece 2 days ago against the Detroit Pistons. So he's coming in rested, had a couple days off. So I'm going to add to that. I'm going to take the points and roll with the Knicks, and I'm going plus 105 for the Beard, a.k.a. James Harden, to make 4 3-pointers made.
Okay. I'm going to stay on the side of the trend, which is the Knicks are bad as an underdog, and on the back-to-back. So I'm actually going to go the opposite way and take the Clips and lay the money, lay the points.
Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app today. 21 plus only. You must be present in Ohio. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. Offer subject to meeting qualifying criteria.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
All right. Jerry Jones, the miracle of Jerry Jones. The Cowboys have been fairly active in the days leading up to free agency. You remember his whole thing last year, we're all in. And what he meant by that, and I think he got unfairly cracked for the actual semantics of it. What he meant by all in is that my team's on the field, Norman Dale. Like, we're all in with this team. Not all in as we've done everything we can to make us a champ. But anyway, that's history now. They got a deal done with a fairly big pending free agent. Osa got signed, the defensive tackle, and he explains about his strategy now moving forward.
I don't think aggressive is the right word. I think I'm not looking at free agency as a place to fill voids.
Okay. So you don't have any voids?
Not if you include what might work for us in the draft and what we're doing with our own roster relative to who we want to sign.
Well, he's already restructured now, right, with Dak and CD.
Yeah, if I'm Dak and CD, I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that, Jerry. We need help.
$54 million in cap room. That's eighth most in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I'm not restructuring my deal for us to do nothing if I'm CD and Dak Prescott. Go out there and get some dudes. We need it. We need some people that can put us over the top. Because they have the headliner names that are good players. Dak, CD, Micah, DeMarcus Lawrence. Like, those dudes can go. But if I'm one of those guys here when I just heard from Jerry Jones, that ain't it.
Matty, they got holes everywhere.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and not the ones that Jerry likes.
I don't know what Jerry is seeing. I love that they took care of the defensive lineman that you mentioned. He is a good player. But they're at a point now to where they're looking around their own division. Commanders just got to the NFC Championship game. Philadelphia just won the whole darn thing. And so they label themselves as this team that has those Super Bowl expectations. And I know somebody has to commit to you via free agency. You got to have two people to dance here. But that's where they need to fill those holes that you're talking about, because you're right.
Here's the deal. I can't tell you for sure that he's lying, but I have a feeling that you don't create all that room to do nothing with it.
I sure hope
you can't create $50+ million in cap space and just, if you're Jerry Jones, off the season they just had. And
if the $50 million that they created is to help get a deal done with Michael Parsons, I'm in on that.
Well, that lowers his cap.
A guy that's already in-house, that's fine. But these guys are in their prime right now. You don't know how many good years DeMarcus Lawrence has left. He's older than the other guys, but CD, Micah, Dak, like they're in their primes. And so you need some fresh juice in there. I'm looking at the running back position. I don't know if they're going to be able to find that in free agency, but in the draft, they need somebody down there that can provide some pop. I think they need another receiver opposite CD, so I would be aggressive trying to get one of these veteran free agents to come over there. I don't know if that's Amari or Keenan or somebody like that, but CD can handle the bulk of being a number one wide receiver. We've seen that. I even like some of the talent they have in the tight end room down there. But you mentioned the holes that they have, and those holes are real, and they're loud.
Here's pick, number 12.
Okay.
12 overall, first round. So he could grab a receiver there if he wants. Round 2, pick 44. Even if they re-sign Uncle Rico Dowdle.
No, he does nothing.
They've got to get another running back.
They need a stud at running back. Rico Dowdle.
There'll be guys available. I told you guys last week, there's talk this is the best running back overall.
Yeah.
The amount of guys that could get drafted this year. We've seen it a long time.
I'd take a swing in the draft, I really would. At helping. And then Zach Martin just retired.
Well, Genty's going to be off the board. Hampton's going to be off the board.
Go get you a Quinshawn or Travion. Go get you one of those guys if you're Dallas. One of them
Caleb
Buckeyes
Johnson
down there.
will be there, too.
From Iowa? Yeah, he can go.
He'll be there.
He's nice. Who's the dude from Tennessee? You mentioned him, Sampson, already?
Dylan Sampson. I think he'll be even later for some reason, yeah. But there are guys out there. So it'll be interesting to see what Dallas does here. But if he if he restructures or gives the extension to Micah, then he's got even more cap room. Then he's north of $70 million. Then he could really spend.
Yeah, Micah's contract is going to be absolutely huge. So that'll be on their books for a while, obviously at a high dollar, but there is so much pressure on Dak Prescott now.
Put him in the cooker, Matty.
There is so much pressure on that dude now. The $60 million thing is the elephant in the room.
The pot's still boiling. You can drop him in.
But AR, what number one did for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we gotta go. You gotta at least get to the NFC title game once throughout this contract.
You said it right. That division with the champs and Washington.
Yeah, man.
He is looking up. And Jerry's not a spring chicken anymore. If he wants to really witness this, them getting back in the mix as America's team,
yeah,
it's time to put up.
Yeah.
And he's done. He's created the space. He can do this.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're right. The pressure is on them.
Yeah, because
tremendously.
Jaden Daniels has so much runway left. Is it going to be as easy as it was in year one every year? The NFL taught us the answer to that question is no.
Here's the other thing. He's got an unproven coach now. Yeah, also, don't forget about that.
That's a good call.
He's got a lot of things.
Oh,
this
man.
This is Schottenheimer's first draft as a head coach.
From a Cowboys fan, that stresses me out. That stresses me out. It really does. Because
McCarthy's first draft he got CeeDee Lamb. So maybe they can catch lightning in a bottle and get another great player.
Hopefully.
I mean, Jimmy Johnson got Aikman. First-year head coaches with Dallas have landed guys that we think about when we think about the Cowboys.
Yeah. So not only is that division very good, but the division your team plays in, the NFC North, looks to be loaded right now. The NFC isn't as light as it looked a couple years ago. Remember we were talking about, hey, a couple teams in the NFC are going to come out. Some people still may feel that way, but with the growth that I think is happening on that side of the league, this roster that Dallas has, they need something to show for it. And it just seems like every year there's always something that pops up that holds them back, whether it's Dak's lack of consistency or whatever the case may be over there, man. They get talked about a ton as one of the best in the league. It's put up or shut up time now.
Tyvis is going to freak. We're going to be right on time. It's really going to throw him on tilt. Back in 2 minutes, we'll get his feeling about Myles versus management. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
At Bob's Discount Furniture, you get the lowest prices every day. Like our modular Bob, which configures to fit your family at just $250 each section. Sleep well on our game-changing mattresses like my highly rated Prize and Newsmaking Treasure, and quality meets value with our Ellington dining set. Only $12.99 every day. No phony sales ever. When you get everyday low prices on the furniture of your dreams, there's only one thing to say. Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
At Diamonds Direct, we believe luxury is an experience and not a price tag. Luxury is expert guidance. It's the selection of 10 jewelry stores under one roof. It's saving time on endless comparison shopping, and you'll only find this experience at Diamonds Direct. Our luxury showroom has it all backed by our lifetime warranties and our signature best price guarantee. Diamonds Direct is the perfect combination of luxury and value, so you don't ever have to compromise. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help?
Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but they outnumber me, man.
Oh, that's a lot of glitter paint. Let's trade
lives.
At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com/iPhone for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Ain't nothing but against the body.
All right, back at it with our friend Tyvis Powell.
Yes, sir.
He of the Brownies. Big decisions to be made. If Tyvis Powell wanted a meeting with the owner, could he get one?
The thing is, me and Jimmy go way back. I'm talking 2017 days, and I was a member of the Browns myself, and we was at a golf outing, and I had to shake hands, you know what I'm saying? So we go way back. I feel like if I requested a meeting with him, he'd be like, you know what, that's my guy. That's that young talent that we got on the Browns radio network that does just a phenomenal job breaking the game down for the fans when we win or lose. Yeah, bring that guy in here. We need to give him a raise while we at it.
Well, all right, give me this, your honest feeling on this, because the way it's being packaged, T, is that Jimmy refused to meet with Myles, and we know that Myles has been kind of on this barnstorming media tour of wanting out, and he'll tell most people who are willing to listen. And is that where Jimmy felt like, I don't need to meet with you anymore because you've kind of gone outside the lines with this request?
Yeah, no, I think it's a couple of ways you could take this. We talked about this earlier today. I think that everybody knows that Jimmy does a lot of meddling. He's always in there. He's always putting his 2 cents in, for better or worse. He's always putting his 2 cents. And I think in this situation that they're in, I think he's like, you know what? I don't know who did the Deshaun thing. It doesn't matter. But we in a situation, so I'm going to trust these guys to get us out of this situation and let them handle it. I think for the first time, I feel like he didn't want to overstep AB, because it was like Myles is like, all right, if AB ain't gonna trade me, I'm gonna go to the main source. And Jimmy I think he did the right thing by saying, you know what, that's between you and AB. Meet with AB. Like, if y'all figure it out there, I'm gonna stay out of it. Which is wow, because if you know the history of him with the Cleveland Browns, he's always been able to put his 2 cents in. So I kind of commend him for, trusting the guys that he hired to do the job.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, because I'm on the complete other side of that, T. I think this is an absolutely horrendous look for Jimmy Haslam to do this. I mean, give him some type of time. Like, this is the face of your franchise that's meant so much to the city and the team, and you can't even sit down with him and talk to him about this situation to try to figure something out. I think that's a tough look. I understand Andrew Berry's responsibility, but you're the owner of the team. And it's time to meet with this guy and try to iron out these wrinkles. I don't know. I just don't think it's a good look for him, T.
Matty, they meet. What's going to come out of the meet? At the end of the day, he wants to be traded. Nothing you can say, do, or give him.
No, I understand. I understand that.
Why do we meet?
I understand that. But if you are the owner, a guy that's done so much for you, I think it's disrespectful, even if you know where the conversation is going to go, to not have a meeting with him, because what if there's a small chance that what you say could sway Myles to come back? That's what he doesn't know.
Listen, when they said Myles, they offered Myles the highest non-paid contract, and he said, no, I'm good, there's nothing you can say or do to get Myles back. I think at this point, they felt Myles disrespected them, so now Jimmy's like, I'm going to disrespect you back. And so at the end of the day, I think my 2 cents is they should trade him. I don't think they will trade him before June 1st because of the dead cap hit and all those things. It goes down after June 1st. So I think that he will be traded after June 1st. I truly think that, because I feel like there's no point in keeping a guy that doesn't want to be here. And I was talking about all the other teams that's in Cleveland, the Guardians and the Cavs. What do they have? They have a bunch of guys that actually want to be in the Cleveland. And if a guy doesn't want to be here, don't force it. Every time that somebody's told Cleveland no, they decided to throw more money at it and try to make them stay. Deshaun Watson told them no the first time. They fully guaranteed his contract. Boom, now he want to say yes, and you see how that turns out. So, to me, it's about getting the right guys in there. If a guy doesn't want to be here, then don't keep him. Let him go and then move on. Make sure you get everything you can for him, because this is your one little chance to, get some ass. This is your only asset, so you better make sure you acquire something really good and really worth that pick that you can build for the future.
Yeah, I'm leaning that way with you. I am, and I don't really know. I agreed with you on your take. I don't know if there's anything left to be said because they know what he wants. I don't know what Myles really wants to meet with him about, unless it's about just trying to plead his case on being traded.
No, Myles probably wants to meet with them to say, because, Monday starts free agency. So the thing is, if he was going to get traded, he wants to be traded now before a team goes spends their money on some type of defensive end, because once they do that, then they're not going to want to trade for Myles Garrett. So he wants to hurry up and try to get traded to a contender before they feel that in free agency or in the draft. But the problem is you can't – it would hurt the Browns the most if they traded him before free agency or the draft. That's why I said they're going to wait till after June 1st, and the best offer after that is where he's going to go. But Myles wants to win. He doesn't want to go to just anywhere. He wants to go to a contender. And the best way to do that, because a lot of people are like, well, we should trade him to the worst team. Well, the worst team's not going to trade for Myles Garrett, because teams are going to look at Myles like he is the missing piece to help us get to the championship. A team that's picking low with the Browns down there probably got quarterback issues, and Myles Garrett is not going to be the thing that's going to take them over the top. Yeah. So I think that's why Myles wanted to meet with them, to expedite this, because he knows free agency starts Monday, and a team like the Eagles, a team like the Commanders, a team like the Lions, like if they feel like Myles Garrett isn't available, then they have to go out and sign a free agent or draft one. And once they do that, then they're not going to be in the Myles Garrett camp anymore.
All right, Tyvis, give me your kind of initial feel right now on the draft here and the scenarios that could play out for the Browns. If the Titans, pick a quarterback, they take Cam Ward, what will the Browns do? And if the Titans take Abdul Carter, what should the Browns do?
Well, Abdul Carter just put a tweet out like 35 minutes ago talking about with the one sign, like he going first round, because I guess he met with the Titans today. So he thinks he going first pick in the draft, which, to be honest with you, talking to a lot of people around the league, a lot of people think that Tennessee is not taking a quarterback. So unless they trade that pick, I think they probably might take Abdul Carter with the number 1 pick. That's just what I've been hearing. So there's that. But to play devil's advocate, you said if they take Cam Ward 1, then the Browns should still take Shedeur. Now, Shedeur, for whatever reason, his name been dragged through the mud this past week. Some people say he's not even a first-round talent. And if that's really the case, and the Browns do their due diligence and they say that he is not a first-round pick, then they should absolutely take Travis Hunter and then trade back up in the end of the first round and take Shedeur, or get him in the second round. That's the two ways that they should go if they feel like he's not going to be a first-round pick. That's what I would do. That's maximizing the draft. But if the Titans take Abdul Carter with the first pick, I would sprint that Cam Ward pick up there before they even think about it. You know how you get like 3 minutes to make your pick? It would be done in 2 seconds. The pick is in.
I don't blame you, man. A lot of people like Cam Ward for sure. I want to ask you this. Do you think they should get in the business with any of these veteran wide receivers that are going to be available in free agency next week, or do you want to see them go down the younger path and get another playmaker in there via the draft?
Matty Alex, well, what money? They got $12.9 million. That's like having $12.90 going into Walmart and think you're about to go splurge. That's not going to happen. So I don't think – sure, it'd be nice to do that, but I don't know who they're going to get with that money. And they got so many holes to fix. Listen, the thing about this team is where they have put themselves is they have to start doing better in the things that they've lacked in the past 4 or 5 years. It's been drafting and developing. You have to do it. You're at the point now where you have no choice but to draft and develop. So in this draft, you better make sure you get you a wide receiver. If you want to go to Travis Hunter route, that's fine. I see that they view him as a wide receiver and all those things. I've seen AB say that. Okay, whatever. If you feel like he can be a game changer and he's what you think he is, take him with the second pick and get a quarterback in the second round. That's totally fine. But I don't. The whole throwing money at things is just not going to work. And you tried that and you failed. So just let that go. You got to get back to your fundamentals, and that's drafting correctly and developing these guys, because it's cheaper to do that way. And you put yourself in such a cap problem that's the only way you're going to get out of it.
Where are you on Trey Hendrickson right now? He's got stats out the you-know-what the last couple of years. He's 30 years old. He'll be 31 in December. But he came into the league the same year that Garrett did, so he's played about 2,000 less snaps than Garrett. Is he worth $30 million of the Bengals' money? Their defense is so bad, it seems foolish to let him get away, but he wants a massive raise. He's got 1 year left. Where do you stand on him?
I think that you fall in the camp where you can't pay everybody. And obviously they value the offense over there more than they value the defense. They've been clear about that these past couple of years. And the thing about Trey Hendrickson is, as well as he played last year, leading the league in sacks, if you go look at it, a lot of premier pass rushers fall off after 30. So I think that's where Cincinnati's at, where it's like, you know what? Why pay him to do these things where history tells us that it's all downhill from here? So I think that, obviously I'm a defensive guy. I always want some defensive players. Obviously he's been a game breaker and a guy that can change a game with just one strip sack. But they're in the same boat as the Browns. They need to draft and develop. How many times have we seen them year after year? They take a DN or offensive tackle, and yet those guys haven't been the answer. So they're putting themselves also in that same camp to where, okay, you can pay Joe, you can pay Jamar, and you can pay T, but you better hit on them draft picks and make sure that these guys is able to come in and be effective. Because if not, obviously you show that you can't outscore everybody. You can't win that way. You tried and it failed.
That's right.
So you putting yourself in that position again by letting a guy like Trey Hendrickson go and not addressing all the other things that's on the defensive side of the ball.
Well done, my man. Always appreciate the convo. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed talking to you guys. Go Bucks, go Browns, go Cavs. 70-12. That's where we going.
Final record?
70-12.
Just win the last game of the season. That's all you got to do. Just make sure you do that. That's all that needs to happen. All right, my man. Thanks.
See y'all later.
See ya. By the way, it is being reported, Maddie, that the Jackets traded a fourth-rounder for Cunnin.
Okay.
That's, I mean.
So not nothing.
No, but that's fine.
Yeah,
that's more than fine.
Yeah.
All right. We come back with Tell the Truth next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
New treatments for joint pain are here. By now, you've heard about regenerative medicine. If you're wondering if you're a good candidate, answer these questions. First, does chronic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or other joints keep you from doing the things you enjoy? Golfing, jogging, time with the family. Does it hurt doing the things you need to do, like getting out of bed, sleeping, working, and walking? And finally, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain, long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? If you answered yes to any of those, you need to call QC Kinetics now. Learn about exciting advancements in regenerative treatments that can give you long-lasting pain relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Get your free consultation today. Call QC Kinetics. That's QC Kinetics. Here's the phone number.
Call now, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544.
Roll Up to Win is back at Tim Hortons. We're rolling out great prizes like a 2025 Ford Bronco, $500 daily jackpots, Xboxes, and more. You can earn rolls with your purchase of an eligible hot or cold beverage and favorite breakfast item. A whole new way to earn rolls this year. Visit your neighborhood Tim's and download the app for great food and more opportunities to roll up to win. No purchase necessary. Tim Hortons app required. See rules on app for details. Entered by 32325. Sponsored by Tim Hortons.
Home values in Columbus are sky high, and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market has peaked. So if you're thinking about selling, it's time. Except for two things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Make this your year. Looking for a new career in the high-demand fields of IT, cybersecurity, and AI? Attend classes live, online, or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify.
1-800-GOT-JUNK is your friend with the truck.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
All our people are in uniforms.
And our trucks are clean and shiny.
And big.
We leave spaces empty and clean.
For you.
1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Common Man and T-Bone are known for many things. And while great radio ain't one of them, shoving food down their gullets is their specialty. Join Man and Bone for Fat Boy Food Tip.
Live at 3 or on the podcast.
Your home for fat. The Fan.
Who are the people that serve part-time in the Ohio Army National Guard? We are your neighbors and friends. We are your sons and daughters. Our service is providing us valuable job skills, and it pays up to 100% of our tuition. We're proud to serve our state. We are your Ohio Army National Guard. Learn more about part-time service with the Ohio Army National Guard at nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard. Aired by the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Scott for Scott's here. How did the grass feel when it woke up from winter? A little crabby. Get it? Crabgrass? Right now, there's a short window of time to apply Scott's Turf Builder Halt's Crabgrass Preventer. It stops crabgrass before it invades and feeds your lawn for a fast green up after winter.
Save up to $20 today at the Home Depot or Lowe's for Scott's Day-Long Saving Time. Offers valid March 6th through 19th. See store for full details and product selection.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Airflow Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Tell the truth with Rothman and Ice.
All right, my man, take us home.
I'll share this with you real quick before we hit the weekend. I saw someone mention that they believe that Myles Garrett's holdout, if it went into the season, would end by Halloween because he's not missing the opportunity to show up in his costume this year.
He kills it every year. I think my favorite, I don't even know if it was for Halloween, but when he came into the game, CB, with all the quarterbacks he sacked, it was like a graveyard.
I can't remember if he did that the same year he put out the gravestones in his front yard, or if that was the year after.
I think that's
either
what
way,
I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, that was really cool.
That was a flex. I'm here for that.
All right, let's stay with the Browns real quick for the first one. Tell the truth. Is Jimmy Haslam a bottom 5 owner in the NFL?
Yes, after what he did to Myles Garrett, absolutely all day and tomorrow. I completely disagree with Tyvis on his take. I don't understand it. I saw Andrew Whitworth on McAfee. He's saying you can't even sit down with the guy. AR laid it out perfectly. If you don't want to move him, that's fine. Placate him, tell him what he wants to hear, and then just move on. The optics of it are bad. That's my only thing there. And so I can't look at a lot of other things that Jimmy Haslam did and give him an out, because not only is it this situation that we're talking about today, it's the Deshaun Watson contract that may go down as the worst contract in the history of not only the league, but maybe in sports. So, yes, to me, he is a bottom 5 owner in the NFL.
So I don't think he's a bottom 5 owner in the NFL because of that, of what happened today. I feel he's a bottom 5 owner in the NFL because of what he gave Deshaun Watson. I think that's going to go down as one of the worst contracts in the history of the NFL, and he's got to own that. As far as the I'm the boss and what happened today, I guess he's watched Myles Garrett request a public trade, go on the media tour to try to get himself out of there. And I think, what are we talking about? What, you want to get moved before we want to move you? Or I'll say it the way I said it before. I would have not dug in like this publicly. I would have just placated him instead of playing the old chain of command deal with him and said, no, you deal with the underling. No. And he's the guy I pay to run my franchise. That's why I have him. And we also don't want to trade you. But
Myles could have wanted a piece of the Flying J's. You know?
He's big on rebates, huh?
Give me a percentage of the Flying J's, and I'll stay. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess if you had a poll right now, who's the worst owner in the NFL, Mike Brown or Jimmy Haslam, it might be Fitty, Lemon, Lime. I don't even know if you have a winner on that right now. I think Mike Brown would win that poll.
I think you would just get the votes of the respective fan bases for their own owners.
Yeah, and I feel bad for both fan bases. I really do, because this is just tough stuff going on for them. Brutal.
Yeah. I mean, the Bengals, they lucked into Joey Burrow. They did pay him. But they don't have a great scouting department. They don't invest a lot in that. The fact that his daddy was the coach of the Browns is unbelievable. You'd think there'd be just more of a history there of wanting to be great in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But
the unfortunate history that they've created, especially over the last few years, is being cheap. It's just it being cheap. You let a guy in Jesse Bates walk. He goes down to Atlanta. He's playing at a high level. And now here we are with this whole situation, and the situation on the outside looking in just reads, we're cheap.
As Brenden Deeg pointed out earlier to us, which I thought was really enlightening, is that Mike Brown, while he is one of the richest 400 people in America probably, he's not rich for any other reason but the fact that he owns the Bengals. It's not, as far as the wealth goes amongst owners, he's very low. And I think that may have just stuck with him his entire life. And so it's not like this is a toy. This is where my wealth is, and I want to manage it like a business versus the toy of owning an NFL team where all my billions comes from something else.
I mean, I hear that, AR, but then don't also get the message out to the media that you want to get all these guys signed long-term.
Well, that's Duke Tobin.
No, but Duke can only say that if he gets a battery put in his back from ownership that has the money.
Well, Duke can say, and he has said, that Trey Hendrickson deserves a raise. What you're never going to find out is how much.
Especially
I
now.
think it's easy to say, oh, yeah, he's been great. Performance raise, absolutely. Can't wait to keep him and all that. But when push comes to shove, those guys want something. The ownership is willing to pay something. And then you have to decide, just like a regular employee has to decide, do I want to work for this? And if you don't, then you do what these guys have done. Request a trade. One ownership has said, go get a trade to Trey. The other ownership has said, Myles, no.
You know what else this does, though, is this has the most important player for the franchise. He's sitting back and taking mental notes. Okay, this is how you guys want to run things around here? When I'm up for my next contract, guess what's going to be on the table? Potentially, if this keeps going the right direction. I'll hit free agency. Or I'll ask for a trade out of here. Because if I'm Joey B., if this doesn't go the way he wants it to go, and he's been on record talking about what he wants them to do, then you got to be thinking 2-3 years from now, when he's due up for another deal, is this really where I want to be with how ownership goes about their business? So that's why I think this is a massive deal, not only for Higgins and Hendrickson and Chase, but to relay a message to your quarterback that we're going to take care of not only you, but we're putting good teams around you and keeping our guys that are some of the best in the league at what they do.
And Joe Burrow, like Myles, was talking in any microphone he could around the Super Bowl of, forget about salary caps and all that. I want my team to spend money and keep everybody. He wasn't shy about it. It's almost like he had the books. We have the cap space to get it done. I want to make it happen. Everybody involved. Here we go. Keep the band together. And you're right. There's nothing really keeping him in the next little while other than maybe being paired with Jamar Chase to saying this is the place for me. And he's an Ohio boy, and there was talk before the draft how he may have not wanted to go to Cincinnati. Then they cooled the waters on that because it sounded wrong in a way.
Yeah.
You could help your hometown team and give them resurgence, and certainly does that. And we pointed out how much he makes a game. Well, what did I say? $3 million?
$2 to $3 million a game, baby.
$3 million a game.
I see you, Joe Shiesty.
It's a career.
Shall set you free.
If you missed anything from our show, don't worry. You can always catch up because wherever you get your podcast, type in Rothman and Ice, everything we do, folks. We'll be waiting there for you every day. Subscribe to the pod. Our podcast is sponsored by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
And I am looking at a half-empty bottle of Cavatier, which means that we are just about out of time.
Indeed we are. Hope you guys have an awesome, safe weekend. Enjoy, and we'll talk to you again on Monday. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
The Open Season Sportsman's Expo, presented by Progressive and Can-Am, March 14 to 16, heads to the Ohio Expo Center. Tickets on OpenSeasonSportsman'sExpo.com. Buy early and save. Be sure to check out Tacticam and Toyota Tundra, official cell cam and truck of the Expo.
I'm an old school Joe. I never lay juice I don't want to lay. I don't hate my money like that. I'd rather lay minus 108 than minus 110, wouldn't you? Prime Sports is Ohio's full-time reduced juice sports book. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
1-877 Cars for Kids. K-A-R-S Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
This is the White Castle Call of the Crave, and it can happen anytime, even right now. So for a limited time, go get your hands on crispy shrimp nibblers. Only at White Castle. Follow your crave. Limited time only.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help?
Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but they outnumber me, man.
Whoa, that's a lot of glitter paint. Let's trade
lives.
At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com/iPhone for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
The Reds are on the radio.
Long fly ball, deep left center field, way back, it is gone!
This could be an inside the park home run. Ellie De La Cruz is on.
He leaps and he caught it!
20 home runs on the year for Spencer Steer.
What will Terry Francona's 2025 Reds look like? Find out for yourself. Cactus League play is underway. Hear all the action on your home of the Reds.
Leases on approved credit. No security deposit required. Tax, tags, title, and dealer fees extra. Ends April 1st.
I'm Rick Reichert. If the calendar says March and there's basketball on TV, it can only mean one thing. Mark down madness at number 1, Reichert Ford. Reichert Ford has sold vehicles to every state in the nation. And we'll sell you one too. Lease new 2024 F-150S TX for just $399 a month for 36 months. 0 down. Plus you get Reichert Ford's exclusive lifetime powertrain warranty, because we're dealing. Saving money is a slam dunk at Reichert Ford. Lease new 2024 Bronco Sport for just $399 a month for 36 months. 0 down. Plus Reichert Ford's exclusive lifetime powertrain warranty. It's madness. Mark down madness at the #1 largest volume Ford dealer in Ohio, Reichert Ford. At Route 33 and Hamilton Road, 2 minutes off 270, and at ReichertFord.com. We're dealing.
Get the right car at Reichert.
We're dealing.
Based on 2024 Ford report for total new retail sales, Cincinnati region. Leases on approved credit. No security deposit required. Tax, tags, title, and dealer fees extra. Ends April 1st.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Hey folks, Austin Ward here. Over the past 10 years, the weight loss industry has seen it all. New medications, fad diets, sculpting, yet Awaken 180 still stands alone as the proven solution for lasting weight loss. Results at Awaken